think Jay should be eradicated. We should just douse him with pesticides and get rid of him. Caracula broke his silence. This is the one that gave advice. He's like the more well-liked cyber wrecker. I wouldn't say he's like beloved. He's not like Jiang where most people like him, but he was a little bit more well-liked. He did have previous controversies, but you know, he was the one that gave advice that Jiang is the golden goose that lays the golden egg, so maybe don't blackmail her. He broke his silence after the whole incident, and he posted a paragraph that reads, I had a fever in the morning and last night, so I took some medicine and fell into a deep sleep. I woke up this morning to 40 missed calls and my YouTube channel filled with hate comments. And I'm all over the news as if I'm a son of a bitch who took money under the table. I'm not sure if this is a dream or reality, but my head is in a daze this morning. I'm not sure if this is revenge for my coverage on another incident that I think Kim and Jay didn't like. But he writes, Jay and Kim, are you sure you can handle this war? It seems like he's mad at Kim because he's the one that exposed the audio. He's mad at Jay because they were supposed to be friends, but then he recorded the whole conversation. And that's the recording that was leaked in the first place. He writes, are you guys ready to handle this war? Are you sure? Because the person who has nothing to lose isn't as scary as the person with a lot to lose who's willing to lose it all. I swear on my two sons that I've never received any dirty money. This is the only thing I'm proud of as a YouTuber, which is like the bar is so low. I'll be putting a pause on the scheduled content and quickly return with evidence proving my innocence. Please put your neutral helmets on, viewers, and wait for me. I'm not going to go down like this. For whose benefit? Then he posts a YouTube video stating that he is being slandered, accused of being a blackmailer. He says in the video that he did not receive a single cent from Jiang. He ends the video by sending a public request to Jiang and her legal team asking for help in resolving how unfair he feels this situation is. Netizens obviously do not like this. His request in and of itself is ridiculous. What do you mean you're sending a public request? Why should she do anything for you? Why should she give you the time of day? Why are you putting the responsibility on her? Soon afterwards, Caracula has announced his retirement in a YouTube video. He said, after being active as a YouTuber for the past 5 years without rest, I am stepping down to convey my sincerity. All recent allegations are my fault. I foolishly responded by involving innocent kids out of fear after being accused of being a blackmailer overnight. If I had known about Jiang's heartbreaking past while talking on the phone with Jay, I wouldn't have spoken so lightly about, blackmail her, not blackmail her, even if it was a personal call. This was inconsiderate and wrong on my part. I have never conspired to threaten or take money. I really hope everyone believes me with this. He tries to explain one time that he took money, and he says it was not blackmail money, kind of. He said, okay, it's somewhat paraphrased for clarity, but he said that he was receiving money from a person known as Suit, who's currently in prison for fraud. He said in 2021, my channel was about cars, which is why my channel name is Caracula, car, and Dracula combined. And it was not about social issues back then. I introduced Suit to another businessman. We're going to raise money for a new business, and they gave me $22,000 to provide media attention to their business. I use that money personally.
What the? So you took money?
Yeah.
And you spent the money? You stole the money?
Yeah.
Supposed to be for marketing, and you used it to do your own shit. Like, what?
But he's justifying it by saying Suit's business turned out to be a scam, and he's now in prison.
So that makes him innocent.
Yes, because, if they're bad people.
Yeah, so he didn't take money.
No. Yeah, that never happened. It's like two negatives of both. And he says A is also on trial for a crypto-related case, so, And he said, I wanted to hide all this, but I won't conceal my crimes anymore, and I will fully cooperate with the investigation. If I'm to be punished, I will accept it willingly, and I'm truly sorry. I have ruined myself and will, for the rest of my life, live in reflection and repentance. The prosecutor's office came out with a statement that they will start actively reclaiming revenue earned by YouTubers through spreading fake information or malicious content. YouTube has also demonetized most of their channels. Dracula, Jin, and Jay's YouTube channels demonetized.
Wow.
Yes.
So that means YouTube has officially got involved.
Yes, because it goes against their partner program policies. And you have to be a YouTube partner to monetize your videos.
What part goes against? Like, is it right now?
Yeah, it's like the crime. defamation or malicious content, which on surface level sounds great because if they can reclaim some profits, maybe they can give it to the victims. Some netizens really supported it initially, but it's too good to be true, right? Other netizens are concerned. They comment, in other words, sure, this case, but think about all the other cases. In other words, all channels the prosecutors find offensive will be considered criminal channels and they can claim profits from them.
So they have control.
Yes. And another comment said there's so much room for this to be abused. If the prosecutions can claim profit as proceeds of crime for defamation, it means they can pressure the political channels that criticize the government or their work. Another comment reads, so they want to bully YouTubers who talk about them, and they're using this case as the excuse and the example. So it's getting very messy. The Bar Association is investigating Attorney Choi, the one that leaked the information to the YouTubers. Some people say that he might not actually get in any trouble, because technically there is no attorney-client privilege since A, the client is dead. Additionally, he did not leak any information that I guess is unfavorable to the dead client. And Jiyoung was never his client. He also signed the contract with Jiyoung to be her advisor after he already leaked the information to YouTubers. Which is morally even more disgusting, but legally it could help him, is what a lot of netizens are concerned about. And this just feels like a case of a bunch of men feeling like they could take a piece of Jiyoung. That they're all just trying to exploit her weaknesses, her victimization to further victimize her. Like they look at this successful woman who has already been victimized to hell and back and they think, how can I get something out of her next? One netizen sums it up pretty well and they say, so Jiyoung was simply in the middle of a fight amongst nasty ass men. And yeah, I will say this case made me lose a lot of hope in men. Except, remember Chan PD, the YouTuber who in 2020 was talking about all the under-the-table ads? Well, the truth is, Jiyoung did do under-the-table ads at the time because her boyfriend had forced her to. Chan PD made that video where he exposed Jiyoung of doing it, and after that video was released, Jiyoung's ex-boyfriend called Chan PD in the middle of the night and stated that, yes, Jiyoung did take those ads, but I'm gonna kill her and I'm gonna kill myself. And Chan PD is like, what are you talking about? And he's like, unless you can help me put an end to this, we're both gonna die. Chan PD lies on camera. He posts an apology video where he says that his information was wrong. And Jiyoung did not take under the table ads. He goes on a live stream with Jiyoung, and even though he wasn't wrong, it didn't matter to him because Jiyoung's life was in danger. I don't think that he knew that the ex was abusing Jiyoung to that extent, but clearly he's a very scary.
It's cute. Let's have a look.
Person if he's threatening to, self-exit with her. He just thought, I can't let her die. And so in that video where he apologizes to Jiang, they're both sitting at the table and Jiang is crying, she's very emotional, and it makes him appear worse because a lot of the comments at the time said, look at everything he's putting her through. For what? Fake information? He just wanted to spread lies on women. The truth is, Jiang was so sorry that he was doing this for her and terrified that her boyfriend was going to kill her and emotional about the situation that she was in, that she couldn't even look at him. And because when you're so guilty and you feel so bad someone is doing this for you and like basically ruining his career for her, she couldn't even look him in the eye. At one point, he bows to her, apologizing, and you see her almost shake her hands like this, like no. Yeah, like don't bow to me, like no, you didn't do anything wrong, but she can't say anything because her ex is threatening to kill her. He continues to apologize, and during that time, he received over 80,000 malicious hate comments, and he was physically assaulted. A viewer threw a rock at him on the street because they hate him. He was just the most disgraced YouTuber for a long period. No. And Jiang was able to gain her career back after that because people actually rallied behind her.
This information was shared
by another YouTuber who seems to have audio conversations between them. I don't know if a friend leaked it or something, but there's a phone conversation after all of this. And it's Chan PD talking to Jiang, and he basically says, it's okay because I was able to save someone. And I'm a business person, so even if I don't do YouTube anymore, I will make a living doing something else. And Jiang is profusely apologizing to him, and he just tells her, you don't have to worry about me. How's your health? No need to feel guilty. It's a happy ending if you keep brightly doing your broadcast for the fans who have been waiting for you. I'm much older than you, and I have a lot more experience in society, and I can endure it. I hope you stay healthy and you spread your positive energy to others. Personally, as a fan, I would love to see you broadcast again soon, because she keeps apologizing. And he keeps reassuring her, if you keep worrying about me and thinking about the attacks on me, everything we've done becomes meaningless. Okay? That just makes it harder for both of us. Just take care of your health and stay mentally strong, and don't pay attention to the trolls and haters. You have lots of good fans around you, and fans who truly love you. You felt that a lot, right? This time you felt the fans' love, so stay strong, okay? I want you to do well, Jia, and rest well, and make sure to eat properly, okay? Thankfully, he's getting a lot of love now. I don't think he's addressed the situation at all. He's just posting his little food review videos. And people are like, how can there be such horrendous people on the same platform as Jiang and Chan Hidi? And Jiang's team, they seem like her protectors as well. They never really get the recognition because they're behind the camera, but it seems like they were the ones that gave her the strength to even get an attorney. And Jiang herself, she is a survivor, while all these other men involved, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that there are acceptable words in any language to describe what they are. To them, they see a woman's success and they can only think, how is that going to benefit me? How can I take that from her? How can I get a piece? Back in 2021, and this makes me even more upset, a netizen even suspected that something strange was happening with Jiang. In 2021, they wrote in an online forum, Jiang seems a bit naive. I don't know, something about her videos. It feels like a bear that is doing all the work while someone rich behind the scenes is making all the money. I mean, have the people that work for her and her channel, have they ever been revealed? Like her business? Who is their manager? Does she have some sort of agency? I don't know how else to put it. It just feels like she's doing all the work and someone else is profiting. The comments on that post in 2021 were flooded with disagreeers. They said, I actually think it's the opposite. I think it's her trying to be perceived as naive. Honestly, I think she seems more calculating to me. She's a bit more of a fox than a bear. I think she's really good at manipulating her viewers and making it appear that she's this innocent girl. But she's a crazy, clever, cunning businesswoman. She's very
She is.
manipulative is the feeling, not naive. Another comments, I think the OP is more naive. She's not naive. Trust, she's making money. It's crazy how even when someone notices something odd, the comments are not even giving the idea the time of day. They are so quick to say that a successful woman is manipulative, sneaky, cunning, and all these things, and that she's pretending and acting and she's pulling the wool over on her viewers' eyes. Yeah, maybe she's just a nice girl who really enjoys food. Okay, and maybe she's going through a lot behind the camera. One netizen comments, and this is after the abuse was made public. Jiang got involved with the manager of a hostess bar while working there, lol. That's why she's willing to pay and cover everything up with money. Until this incident broke out. Jiang, stop trying to cover up your establishment work history with all of this. What forced work are you talking about? Another comment, let's be real, Jiang met her boyfriend while working at the room salon, lol. You're saying the ex-boyfriend forced her to work? Don't make up stories now just because he's dead. Another comment reads, honestly, this whole situation could be summed up like this. Jiang comes from a room salon background. She endures violence because she loves a guy, and even tolerates being secretly filmed in cool situations without pressing charges. She and the others are all birds of a feather. Another comment reads, what's so great about Jiang that she's allowed to destroy so many people around her? She should have behaved better from the start and none of this would have happened. Another comment reads, everyone wanted to believe Jay because of his past controversial behavior, but even Jiang, I wonder if we could truly trust her just because what? A few tears and a few pieces of evidence? Another one reads, if you look at this closely, Jiang was blackmailed about her past, but instead of reporting it, she needs money. It's clear there's probably something bigger she wants covered up. Her ex self-exited, so if Jiang says she's the victim, then the story is she's the victim. To me, they all just seem like the same kind of people. One comment from Jiang's video reads, from now on, we ban your episode. Those who should apologize are walking around with their heads held high. And why is the victim apologizing? Let's stop doing it. So I would say that most people are supporting Jiang and they're rallying around her. And we don't know if she's going to come back soon or later with her regular content, but I hope she is doing well. And that is the very complicated case of Jiang. I did see some coverage of the case in English, and I do think that the biggest element of the case, obviously, is Jiang's story and her abuse. But I think even the re-victimization of the blackmail and just this series of people, because her ex-boyfriend, I'm so sorry to say this, is dead, and I think that that can give closure so that he can no longer hurt more victims and victimize other people and continue to victimize Jiang. Whereas these YouTubers, they're very much around and they can victimize more people. They can continue doing these deeds, and I think that exactly. And they have money, it seems. So I do think that that is something that needs to be talked about. It's not just her ex-boyfriend. It is a series of really bad people that took advantage of Jiang. What are your thoughts on this case? Did you know that it went this deep and this dark? Let me know in the comments. I'm sorry if it got a little bit confusing. And stay safe. I'm seeing you soon. Finding love is not easy, especially when you're competing against 3,900, almost 4,000 other people for the attention of just one person. 4,000 people are writing letters to one man to get him to fall in love with them. You really only have one shot. How do you get his attention? How do you stand out? How do you not be so boring? Maybe some people think I'll include some pictures, but how do you make those stand out? Maybe they're nude. Well, no, because the nude photos, they get flagged, and he's not even going to be able to read them. Hundreds of people have already tried, and sure enough, they've been flagged for being, quote, inappropriate. But how else are they supposed to stand out? Do you just write what you're thinking straight onto the page? I think I can change you. I know you've been hurt, but I'll be with you. I can see the pain in your eyes. I know you feel sorry. It's kind of like The Bachelor. Everybody is fighting for this one man's affections. Who's going to come out on top? Who is he going to pick? Only this man isn't a bachelor. He's a killer. He has committed double homicide. He killed 2 people in cold blood and has gone viral on TikTok for being hot. They call him the Deadpool Killer.
His name is Wade Wilson. candles.
The Joker. People want to be his Harley Quinn. And now thousands of
shit.
people from all over the world are writing to him, believing that they can be the ones to change him.
This is
Make
not
a
gonna be
killer
a
go good again. This is the case of Wade Wilson.
Deadpool.
We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the National Network to End Domestic Violence. They are a non-profit organization dedicated to creating a social, political, and economic environment in which partner-related, workplace, and stalking violence no longer exists. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team, and we would also like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates. As always, full show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. Just a few quick disclaimers for today's case. There are mentions of suspected SA and somewhat graphic descriptions of injuries, as well as brief mentions of substance abuse. The majority of the research was pulled from the court trial itself, and the longest day of testimony lasted about 9 hours, just for one of the days. So for the purpose of time, as always, some statements have been condensed. With that being said, let's get into it. Monday mornings are usually for regrets and headaches. The weekend is over, everything is back to reality, and it's not a good feeling. It's not great. In Fort Myers, Florida, Mila, she's freaking out. Her car was basically stolen from the bar last night, from the Buddha bar. Her $80,000 car is now gone.
Dude,
Stephanie, another resident, she can't get in contact with her best friend Christine that she went to the Buddha bar last night with. It's like a club called the Buddha bar. Yeah, Jason, another resident, is at work. He's hungover, he's exhausted, and then all of a sudden the doors open, police walk in, and they want to talk to him about, what did you see at the Buddha bar last night? And Wade, 25-year-old Wade Wilson, is standing in line Monday morning at this print shop. It's like where you can buy those giant prints, like printed storefront posters or art prints. He's standing in line behind another customer who's already being helped by the owner of this print shop. And it seems like both the customer and the owner that's behind the counter, they keep glancing at Wade. They keep looking at him and acting like he's not there, acting like they don't see him or the condition that he's in, because this man is shirtless. He's also shoeless, missing a couple of teeth, and he's got blood smeared like all over his torso. Just, he's covered in blood.
You good, bro?
A few teeth are knocked out. He's waiting for his turn to talk to the owner because he needs to tell him what the hell happened at the Buddha bar last night. Sunday night at the Buddha bar in Florida is probably the perfect time for someone who wants to be at a bar. You get to enjoy the live music and dance and drink, but it's not as packed as every Friday, Thursday, even Saturday. You don't want to be shoulder to shoulder with people in this sweaty, humid room. It's busy, but it's not overly crowded. You actually get to socialize with some of the people there. It's not the craziest crowd, which is perfect for Mila. She just wants to have a little bit of a low-key night. Mila walks into the Buddha bar, maybe 10:30 p.m. She has this thing, okay? Mila has this thing where she never brings a purse with her. She likes to be hands-free. Her phone, her work phone, she's got 2 phones. Her business cards, her wallet, her keys, everything goes into her pockets. She just stuffs it in there. And if it doesn't fit into her pockets, she usually has somebody with her that has bigger pockets than her. Like her boyfriend, Wade. She gives him the keys to her $80,000 Dodge Hellcat. It's like a muscle car. He's the keys to her $80,000 Dodge Hellcat in his pocket, and the two start partying it up at the bar.
Mila is dating Wade.
Yes. Yes, and she's at the bar with him, and he's got the keys to her car. Now, outside the bar, Amy just pulls into the parking lot, and she sees this sleek gray Hellcat parked outside. She's like, that's perfect. That's my best friend Mila's car, which means Mila's inside. Amy's here to see Mila. She grabs her bag, gets out the car, and she starts walking in. She's known Mila for maybe 10 years now, and this is the kind of friendship where it appears they don't really see each other too often, and when they do, it's like no time has passed. They hadn't seen each other in a really long time at this point when Mila and Amy decide, let's meet up at the Buddha bar. How about Sunday night? When it's kind of the perfect night, I want to introduce you to my new boyfriend, Wade, and you live like a mile away from the bar, so it's perfect. Amy lives a mile away from the bar, so she shows up to the bar. It's going to be a fun night, and she's trying to find Mila in this crowded, loud Mila. And next to Mila is her boyfriend, the one that she's been talking about so often, the one that Amy's supposed to meet. And the first thing that Amy notices is this guy is tall. This guy is probably 6'6". He's tall. And next to Mila, he looks even taller considering she's, 5'2"? She's tiny. He also seems nice. He seems charming even. Wade Wilson, nice to meet you. Oh, Amy, nice to meet you too. The three of them, they grab drinks, they're hanging out, they're dancing. And then it happens. This is the one thing that every friend who goes out with couples, they dread. The couple starts fighting. They start arguing, and the whole energy just goes south. It's sour. They're arguing at the bar because they just want to do different things. Wade wants to leave the bar right now and go to a guy friend's house and maybe do a little bit of drugs. Mila, she doesn't want to do any of that. It's Sunday night. She wants to go home early. She'd rather either stay here at the Buddha bar, enjoy the music, dance like they agreed to do, or just go home at this point. She doesn't want to continue the night at somebody else's house, and she doesn't even know this person. And what is she supposed to do? Sit there and watch them do drugs? She just wants to go home. They're going back and forth. Nobody wants to budge. Mila's like, I've told you at least 3 times that I don't want to go over there. Please stop pushing it. Besides, this bar is about to close. It's nearly 2 in the morning. I think we should call it a night. The two step away from each other to cool off, and Amy's trying to stick by Mila's side. Maybe let's just hang out, get some fresh air. I'm sure he's going to join us outside, and once he gets outside, maybe he'll change his mind. Maybe he'll be like, you know what, babe? Yeah, you're right. Let's go home. They walk outside the bar, and they hear a car engine rev and crack, and then they see a car speeding away. That's Amy's looking at the car. She's looking at Mila. She looks back at the car. Isn't that your car? Wade, Mila's boyfriend, had taken Mila's keys to her $80,000 car and had just driven off. Stranded his girlfriend at the Buddha bar. At the same bar, there are 2 other girls that have no relation to Mila and Amy, or at least not yet, Stephanie and Christine. Just like Mila and Amy, Stephanie and Christine have been friends for a really long time, and they're just trying to enjoy their Sunday night before the work week starts. The girls are about to leave when a man jumps in front of Stephanie. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. I was just wondering, who's your friend? He kind of cocks his head towards Christine, who looks up at him. Hi, I'm Junior. Oh, this is my friend Christine. Stephanie's a little bit confused. Christine reaches out her hand, shakes Junior's. Christine, nice to meet you. And the 3 of them, Stephanie, Christine, and Junior, they start walking towards the bar and they start talking. I mean, it's very clear that Junior is very much interested in Christine at this point. He's so distracted, he almost forgets to introduce. Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry, guys. Meet Jason, everyone. Jason, this is Stephanie, and this is Christine. They're like, hi, Jason. So the 4 of them, they enjoy their drinks together, and Christine is giving Stephanie the this is good. Like, that look, he's cute, he's charming, he's friendly, he's so funny. Look at his clean-shaven face, he's got the big dimples. Christine is joking to Stephanie. The guy that I was talking to earlier tonight, remember? He had just one dimple. This guy, Junior, he's got 2 dimples. Okay, the message is very clear. Stephanie and Jason are playing wingman tonight, so Christine and Junior can get to know each other. And they do. The girls are at the bar from 10 p.m.-ish to around 2 in the morning until the bar is closing up, and slowly everybody starts shuffling out of there. Things are going, honestly, very well at this point. Nothing feels forced. Nothing feels unnatural. The conversation is flowing so easily, and they're all standing in the parking lot for a second when it's suggested, why don't we just all go back to Jason's to finish off the night? Christine and Stephanie had Uber to the bar, so it makes sense. It was kind of perfect. They get into Jason's car. Jason starts driving back to his place. They open up the front door. They're all giggling, all 4 of them, when they flip on the lights, and on the couch, sitting there, staring at them, walking in, is Jason's mom. And she's pissed. It's past 2 in the morning. It's Monday morning now, and Jason's been out all night long, and now he's brought home 3 people over.
How old is Jason?
I would say probably early to mid-20s. So everyone tries to make small talk with Jason's mom to kind of ease the tension. And it's not really working, so they all just run off into Jason's room to get away from the weird awkwardness. Jason's room is interesting. It's at the very back of the house, and there's a door to the backyard in his room.
So it connects to.
Yes, exactly. So Stephanie and Jason, they decide we're going to just step out into the backyard to hang out, give Christine and Junior some space to do whatever they want to do, because the 2 of them, they start having intimate relations pretty quickly inside of Jason's room. Now, I do want to mention, everybody here is an adult and it's consensual. Stephanie is the type of friend to fight somebody herself. She's the type to call the cops herself if she thinks even for a second that something is wrong. This is, by the way, Stephanie does tell this to authorities later on. Like, she is recounting the whole night, and so does Mila. There's a lot of testimonies here. Now, Stephanie says they're just adults that met at a bar. They're having some fun. And it was nice to see Christine enjoy herself once in a while. I mean, she's usually the one that's taking care of everybody, so it's nice to see that she's getting a break from all of that. Now, the 4 of them are there for a few hours, maybe. I mean, they kind of lost track of time when Junior pulls the girls aside and he tells them, this guy doesn't want us here anymore. We gotta go. That's what he says. And it was at this point, Stephanie said, they realized, wait, these 2 guys, they don't know each other. Junior and Jason, they also just met at the bar tonight. She assumed that they had been friends. Like, they were under the impression that Jason and Junior had known each other and had arrived at the Buddha bar together as friends. But the way that he's saying, hey, this guy doesn't want us here anymore, it very much is indicating, I just met this guy.
And he just slept in his room.
Yes, with Christine. And so the whole thing is a little bit strange, but also not strange because it's not like anybody lied about it. It's almost like Stephanie and Christine just assumed. They made the assumption, right? And they just seem so natural. They seem like they have been friends for years. Now, it's unclear who offered or how this next plan comes into place, but the new plan for the rest of the night, I imagine it's maybe like 5, 6 in the morning at this point, is to go to Christine's house. Christine lives alone, so there's no mom that's going to be sitting in the living room waiting for them to get in. She does live with her cat, Monty, but other than that, she lives by herself. So they grab all of their stuff, they throw it into the car. This is actually Junior's car. That's also another revelation the girls are having. They're sitting in the car and they're like, wait, Jason drove this car to Jason's house, but now Junior's driving it, so apparently it was Junior's car that Jason drove. It's weird. It's a little bit weird. So they get into the car. Junior's in the driver's seat. He turns it on, and the engine is so loud. I mean, especially because it's 5 in the morning, and they know that all the neighbors are probably going to wake up to this. It's just revving so loud, practically waking everybody up. Junior puts his hand on the steering wheel, he puts his hands on the gear shift, and he starts backing out of the driveway, and the engine is getting louder and louder. But the car is not moving. The car is not even moving an inch. What the hell is happening? He tries to back out again, and the car engine revs loudly again. I mean, do you know how to drive your own car? Like, what's going on? Are you drunk? He doesn't seem drunk. Junior is fiddling around with the pedals, and it's not moving. Because it's not even his car. He had never driven a manual car before. This is a stick shift car. He's used to automatic cars. He's never driven a Hellcat before. This is his girlfriend's car, Mila's Hellcat, that he stole from the Buddha bar. And his name is not Junior. His name is Wade Wilson. And he is about to murder one of the girls in the car. Joshua, the owner of the print shop, waves by to his customer. Thank you. Have a nice day. He's smiling at the customer and he's avoiding Wade as much as possible while that customer is walking out of the print shop. He pulls Wade to the side and he's asking him, this is also Joshua tells the police later, what the hell is going on, man? Wade starts pacing back and forth inside this print shop. I need your help. I need a bus ticket. I need a plane ticket or something. I gotta leave town. Joshua had heard about the fight with Mila from a mutual friend of theirs, and he tries to kind of calm this guy down. Wait, look, if it's about the fight with Mila, no, you don't get it. You don't understand. I killed someone. Wade starts frantically filling Joshua in on what happened last night, how he went to the Buddha bar with Mila, stole her car, but he didn't know how to drive it because he can't even drive a stick shift and the car is not automatic. He had some random dude named Jason driving out of the bar. He, Jason, and two other girls went back to Jason's house, and then Jason kicked them out. So Wade and the two girls, Stephanie and Christine, they were going to head back to Christine's house for the night, or early morning, I guess you could say, just a few hours ago. But Wade could barely get the car out of the driveway, and now Christine is dead. He killed her. Joshua freezes, and Wade begs him to help him get out of town. I gotta go. I need a bus ticket. I need a plane ticket or something. Because I also might have just tried to kill Mila this morning as well.
So there's
So
that.
there is so much going on. Joshua is nodding, but the only thing on this guy's mind is, how the hell do I get out of here so I can call 911? He later tells the court this. He's like, I just needed to get out. I didn't want to alarm him to make him feel like I'm going to rat him out or snitch on him. So I'm thinking of, okay, do I tell him I need to go talk to a friend? Do I tell him I need to go smoke a cigarette? He just needs to call 911 so that someone can come and get this guy, because this is not good.
Are they friends?
He said they're more like acquaintances. He's saying they're not even that close of friends.
So he barely knows him.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not trying to help this guy get out of town. I'm trying to help this guy get arrested.
And the way just showed up.
Shirtless, shoeless, missing a few teeth, and with blood smeared on his torso. Yeah.
Let me ask you something. How well did you know Mr. Wilson?
I didn't know him very well. He was an employee at a friend of mine, Marina in Conch Key, and
Out of the Keys.
I've only met him maybe a handful of times before that.
Mila's also not having the best morning either. Not the best Monday morning. This is before Wade goes to Joshua's print shop. This is early in the morning. She wakes up on Amy's couch. This is the friend that was at the bar with her. And she's staring at the ceiling, probably contemplating her life right now, okay? Contemplating how she got here. How her boyfriend Wade just abandoned her at the bar last night, essentially stole her car, and the past 6 months of her life were a living hell. Wade was probably the world's worst boyfriend for the past half year of Mila's life. Within a few weeks of dating, she had already called the police on him multiple times. He had physically assaulted her multiple times. One time, Wade apparently got very upset at Mila for these text messages that she had on her phone. It's unclear what the messages entailed or what the contents were, but they're both in the car, and he's driving, blowing up on her, and she doesn't like where this is headed. So she ends up trying to get out of the car, just trying to create some distance between those two. He runs after her, ripping off her skirt. She said she wasn't wearing any undergarments underneath, so she's just running down the street in nothing but a t-shirt on, trying to find somebody to help her. He ends up tackling her to the ground, choking her in the middle of the street until she passes out. She comes back to, and she's in the car. Her hands are tied behind her with a cord, and there's this makeshift blindfold over her eyes. He said he's taking her back home. Their place at the time had a boat on the property, and it's parked on the dock, so there's water out there. He drags her onto the boat. They start getting off into the water, so there's really no way for her to escape anymore. It's not like she can just jump off the boat. And he tells her, I'm teaching you a lesson. He essays her. And when he's done, he brings her back home and then starts trying to comfort her, telling her the pain is over now. That's what she said, like, the pain is over now. This is all reported to the police, and Wade ends up spending a total of 3.5 months in jail before being released on probation. He'd actually just gotten out a few days ago, and then the two of them decided to go to the Buddha bar. But now, Mila's done. She's over it. She said she just wants her car back, she wants her property back, and she will be so happy to never see this guy ever again. And now it's the next morning. She probably has a raging headache from the alcohol. If not, probably from the mess that she's in. And her phone is ringing nonstop all morning long. She's getting a bunch of text messages, missed calls from an unknown number. She finally squints her eyes. She looks at the time. It's around 8:45 in the morning. She calls one of the numbers back. Whoever this is calling her work phone, trying to get in touch with her. So it seems like could be work related. She owns a spa. It could be a customer. It could be a client. She doesn't know. She calls. The voice on the other end is the most agitating voice that she's going to hear all morning. It's Wade Wilson. And he's acting like none of that happened last night. She says hello and he's quick. Where are you? Can I come get you? She tells him, look, I just want the keys back to my car. I want my car back and I need to get it back today. I have a few things I need to do. Where are you? He starts calling her a bitch and a cunt and all sorts of threats. It's just a lot. It's getting pretty heated, enough that Amy can hear from her bedroom. She says that she starts walking out into the living room and she thinks the whole energy is weird. I don't know if she necessarily heard the conversation or maybe Mila told her afterwards, but they both state that he was going from being very calm, saying things like, I love you, we can make this work, to the next time I see you, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, it's just back and forth like this, just hot and cold. Mila manages to de-escalate the conversation because, again, she just wants her car back. She's not even trying to fight him or argue or talk about how messed up that was last night. She just wants to do whatever it takes to be happy and nice and get her car back and then block him on everything. She de-escalates the fight, and the two of them, Mila and Wade, they agree to meet in the parking lot of Mila's spa that she owns. Amy understands that as, okay, we both gotta go because you don't have a car. She gets ready. The two girls get into Amy's car because, like I said, Mila doesn't have a car. And as they're driving to her spa, the whole time in the car, Amy said, Mila's phone just nonstop blowing up, buzzing the whole way. He's just calling her the whole time. This guy just feels very unhinged. Amy parks her car at the parking lot. She watches Mila get out of her car, approach Wade, who's sitting in the car, and she goes to the driver's side. Next thing Amy remembers is she's on the phone with 911 because there's just so much blood. Mila had gotten out of Amy's car, walked up to Wade on the driver's side of his car. He's like, Mila, get in the car now. She's not gonna get in the car. She literally says, I'm not getting in the car. Is this guy crazy? He tries to grab her by the waist. He's pulling at her dress to try and drag her forcibly into the car through the driver's side window. Not even the door, through the window. So Mila says she needs to think quick. She throws her arms up in the air, like she's about to dive into the pool, just straight up, like a plank. She refuses to let her body fold up because she thinks the second that her arms fold in, he could probably drag her into the car. She's gonna go through that window, and she's like, no way I'm getting into the car with this guy right now.
Like he's kidnapping her.
Yes.
Broad daylight.
She's resisting, she's planking, he's pulling her, he's ripping her dress, grabbing her hair, dragging her, and whatever he can get his hands on. She manages to wiggle away, and Wade starts panicking, realizing that she's slipping away from his grip. He opens the driver's side door. He hasn't even put the car in park at this point. It's still in drive. He gets out the car, grabs Mila, the car starts slowly rolling forward because it's not in park. Wade tackles Mila to the ground, and the two of them are positioned where the car nearly runs them over. It grazes their legs. Wade jumps off of Mila, quickly puts the car into park, just pulls the emergency brakes. Mila uses this chance to run. Amy has been in her car trying to figure out what to do. This is happening very quickly. She has her hand on the door handle. She's ready to get out and help her friend. Wade is chasing after Mila, and he points at her. If you get out, I'm gonna kill you. Amy does not get out. Mila is 5'2". She's tiny, maybe 100 pounds. Amy is 5'4". Both of them against Wade 6'6". Nothing good is gonna come out of this. They're both gonna get killed. They would need to have a whole army of them first. Amy's busy in the car calling 911. Meanwhile, Wade manages to catch up with Mila. So Mila at this point, I imagine.
This is, you say 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning?
I would probably aim closer to 9:30 in the morning because she got the original phone call. So she calls back at around 8:45 in the morning.
Right, so
Yes.
there's nobody around.
There are other business owners, but I don't think that they've come out yet fully. Mila's just trying to book it to the spa. I think her intention is if I get into the spa, I can lock in. I'll be safe. I mean, I'm hiding somewhere. Because I don't know if she knows which businesses are open at this point inside of this little retail shopping plaza, or which ones are going to open the door for her. Now, Amy can see all of this. Mila is holding onto the stair railing at one point, quote, like a monkey trying to hold on. He just keeps ripping her more and more, trying to drag her into the spa. So now he wants to take her into her spa. Mila says she knows that if the two of them are alone in her spa right now, he's going to kill her. She said, I didn't know whether he was going to drag me in and then they would have to resuscitate my body. If he got me inside, I knew I was going to die. So she is doing absolutely everything in her power to stay outside of that spa. She said, I start to get beat. It all went so fast and so slow, whether it would be punches, slapping, choking, that kind of nature. I'm trying to reason with him, trying to talk to him, but there is nobody behind those eyes anymore. So there's no reasoning with him. He just has these dark serial killer eyes where there's nothing to reason with. It's like looking into a black hole. You're saying words, you're trying to evoke emotions, but there is nothing behind those eyes. I'm just trying to buy time. That's what Mila says. Now, Wade has Mila pinned up against the hallway wall. Both hands are around her throat. The only time he takes his hands off her throat is so that he can pummel her face with his fist. At this point, two things happen at once. One, they start hearing police sirens in the distance coming closer and closer. Two, Wade punches Mila in the face so hard her nose, quote, explodes. Just blood explodes everywhere. Mila thinks this is either one of those, or maybe both of these things that kind of freaks Wade out. Because it seems to take him off his guard, giving her just enough time to duck underneath his arm and run away. She bolts it across the parking lot. A neighboring business opens her door. She's rushing in. They slam the door closed right behind her. They lock it. And by the time that the police arrive, Wade is gone. He has just driven away. The police have an idea, though. Why don't we lure him out? That's what we can do. The plan is Mila's going to convince Wade to meet her in the parking lot of a local restaurant called Joe's Crab Shack, which surprisingly or unsurprisingly, I don't know at this point, but this man is headache-inducing. Wade agrees. He's like, yeah, sure, Mila, I'll come meet up with you. He's going to meet up with her at Joe's Crab Shack. There are two officers on site that's going to block his car so that he can't leave, and they actually end up talking to Wade. There's footage of this. He rolls down his window. The officers...
Wait, this happened when? Right away?
This happened like an hour or two after the assault.
Wade knows damn well the cops were coming.
Yeah.
And he's like, let me meet you.
I guess he was confident enough that Mila was not pressing charges or that maybe they didn't believe her. I'm not sure what he's thinking. But he shows up and he rolls down his window and the officer is reassuring him because he doesn't want to scare him off. I'm not going to arrest you. We're just going to detain you for a second or two to figure out what's going on. So the officer leaves for 2 seconds to get a backup officer. He turns around. Wade is driving off. Again.
Damn it.
Just wait till my number gets here. Don't go anywhere. Hey.
Police chase.
Like 1 second he's there, the next second he's not there. He drove off from the Buddha Bar in the Hellcat, he drove away from the spa, and now he's driving away from Joe's Crab Shack. And the police are confused. Where the hell is this guy going next? They don't have to wait too long to find out, because soon enough they get a 911 call from the owner of a local print store, Joshua. The call was along the lines of, hello, I have a friend of mine who came in here with blood covered all over him. He said he killed somebody. His name is Wade Wilson, and I told him I was going to go smoke a cigarette and I would be right back, but I'm calling you. The police are now standing in the parking lot of the print shop. It's a very busy day. Wade is long gone, and once again, this is the police's third time missing him this morning. He's gone. But this time, he left them a little something. The car. The car is parked in the parking lot. The car that he drove to the print shop. The car that they're staring at, though, is not Mila's car. It's not the Hellcat. It's a black Nissan. And they know that this is not registered to Wade either. So it's not Wade's car. It's not Mila's car. So the question is, whose car is this? police officer puts his face up to the window, and he's pretty much like cupping his hand so he can see better inside. And he decides, we gotta open this car. We gotta break into the car because there is blood inside. There might be someone in the trunk. That is what the officers believe. Stephanie was at work when she gets a call. This is Monday, the day after Buddha Bar. She gets a call from the police, and
Stephanie is
Christine's friend. They were the ones that were at Jason's.
right. Okay, yes.
But they knew Wade as Junior.
Right. Okay.
So she gets a call from the police, and they're like, hey, we found your friend Christine's car, her black Nissan. What do you mean you found her car? It was never missing. She's so confused by this. Now, here's what the police were able to piece together by this point. After talking to Stephanie and hearing her side of events from the night before, this is what they gather. It appears Wade Wilson went to the Buddha Bar with his girlfriend Mila. He then steals her $80,000 Hellcat and has Jason, a random guy he meets at the bar, drive him and the two girls, Stephanie and Christine, back to Jason's house. Afterwards, they try to go to Christine's, but because Wade cannot drive the Hellcat because it's a manual stick shift, they leave it in Jason's neighborhood and they Uber to Christine's house. So now it's Wade, aka Junior, Stephanie, and Christine at Christine's house. Stephanie says that she was there for maybe 15 minutes, but she had to go back home because she had work the next day and she had to take her son to school. Stephanie turned to Christine and she asked her, is everything okay? Like, am I okay to go? She said that Christine gave her a hug and kissed her goodbye. So she's like, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Stephanie says if Christine was concerned about this guy in any way, she would have not let me leave that house. If she was scared in any way, she would have told me, let's get this guy out of here. So Stephanie leaves. She walks past Christine's black Nissan, parked in the driveway, and goes back home. All morning, Stephanie has not gotten a text back or call back from Christine, but she's not freaked out about this because technically they essentially pulled an all-nighter last night. She just assumed she doesn't have work. She's probably knocked out right now. Meanwhile, that morning, Mila's phone is blowing up from calls from an unknown number. The police track that number, and it's shown to be Christine's phone number. But the two girls, they don't know each other. I mean, sure, they were at the bar, the same bar last night, but they never spoke. Why would Christine's phone be calling Mila? Because Wade had taken Christine's phone, but why? Mila doesn't know. She just wants her car back. The Hellcat, right? That's presumably parked somewhere near Jason's house still. Wade agrees to meet up with her at her spot, but he shows up in this black Nissan. He attempts to kidnap her, and then later, essentially attempts to murder her, drives off. He goes to meet with her again later at Joe's Crab Shack, not knowing that the police are there waiting for him. He pulls up in the same black Nissan, Christine's car, and then he manages to drive away. And now he's gone to a print shop where his friend Joshua is the owner, and he tells him that he's killed people. Joshua rushes to call 911, and by the time that the authorities arrive, Wade is gone, but he's left the black Nissan in the lot, which happens to have blood in it. This is what the police know. And the police are very concerned that they're going to find Christine's body in the car.
Well, how did he leave the black Nissan?
I guess he just ran off.
He walked, ran,
Yeah.
barefoot?
Yeah. And instead, they find a phone inside the car. Now, this phone is not Wade's phone, and it's also not Christine's phone or Stephanie's phone. It's a complete stranger's phone that has no correlation to any of these people in the car with blood inside. Usually when you see a vulture, it's never a good sign. Vultures are literally called vultures because they feed off of anything that they can find. And sometimes there are bodies that they feed off of. Police find vultures surrounding this wooded lot nearby, and it's like this empty wooded lot. The police decide, we gotta go investigate what's in there because that's a lot of vulture activity. They walk in, they search the place, and they find a woman's body. One of her fingers and nasal bones were fractured. She had injuries all over on both sides of her body, bruising up and down her arms, her hands. Her ribs were broken, as well as the hyoid bone in the neck. Her name is Diane Ruiz, and Wade Wilson had just recently killed her. Wade is sitting in the living room of this nice empty house. This is after the print shop. He's sitting in this nice, honestly kind of expensive house with 5 crumbled up cans of White Claw next to him, the seltzer, the alcoholic beverage. He had some popcorn, he took a shower so he feels better. He put on some fresh clothes. They're not his, but it's the least of his problems right now. And he grabs his phone and he starts calling the person that he usually goes to now. Whenever something bad happens, whenever he's in trouble and he needs to get out of it, this is the person he calls. Wade had never been that close with his biological dad. In fact, he only recently saw his biological dad for the first time, 7 years before all of this? Wade is 25. He met him for the first time when he was 18. For all of Wade's childhood, he had been living with his adoptive parents. His biological parents had been 14 and 15 when they got pregnant with Wade. They just weren't in the situation to take care of him, so he gets adopted by a family that went to church with the mom, with the biological mom. They already had 2 daughters. They're of the age where they can really take care of a full family, and they think, let's bring Wade into our family and make it a family of, 5. For 13 years, it works. Wade is a very active member of their family. He's always spending time with them. He's spending time with his 2 sisters. And it's actually when he turns 13, the family starts figuring out something is very different about Wade. It starts off with these smaller things. One time, Wade's sister was giving him a haircut, but because he was wearing this hoodie, it just keeps getting in the way of making sure that the hair is even in the back. And she asks him, can you take off the hoodie? Which he does, but as he's taking it off, she notices something incredibly alarming. He's wearing a t-shirt underneath, and he had stapled his t-shirt to his skin. He had stapled the arms of his t-shirt to his arm, the sleeves of his t-shirt to his arm. There's just staples in his skin. Nobody knows why, but I think everyone can agree that's very alarming behavior. Regardless, Wade reaches out to his biological dad when he's 18 years old, and the 2 of them, they've been trying for the past 7 years to have some kind of relationship. It's a little bit hard to do when the only time that they've really seen each other is once, and Wade only ever calls his biological dad Steven whenever he's in trouble or he needs money. Kind of like now. His biological dad, Steven, picks up and is like, what's going on? Wade sounds really frantic, like he's about to lose it, and he keeps repeating to his dad that he did something that he can't take back, and he's in big trouble. He needs help leaving town. There's 2 people who, because he killed them, he's a killer. That's what he tells him. Does not believe him. Because he knows that Wade is always on drugs, and he's thinking he might be high right now, and he's like making up stories, he's hallucinating, he's delusional, something's going on, but he's also kind of a fibber. Like, he likes to tell these crazy stories, and most of the time they're not true. So he thinks, okay, this guy is just really out of his mind, bonkers high. But Wade keeps calling him throughout the rest of the night, giving his dad more details on what's going on.
He just told me, he did something. There was 2 people gone that would not be back. He said I'm a killer. I just told him to call me back. I just thought it was another story,
Finally, at 10 p.m. that night, so almost 24 hours after the Buddha bar, Monday night, he starts telling his dad in detail about how he went home with a girl named Christine from the Buddha bar. They hung out, and after she fell asleep, he got on top of her, and he, quote, I choked that bitch. He stated that he stayed in Christine's house for a little bit longer afterwards with her dead body, and then eventually he decides, I should probably dispose of her body. He grabs blankets, clothes, and he rolls her up inside the blanket, like almost how you would roll up a rug, sandwiches her, and the thought was, initially, he was going to put her into the trunk of her car, but he couldn't lift her. He told his dad that he thought rigor mortis had already set in, so it was making her body very stiff, and he thinks that's why he couldn't place her in the trunk. So he just leaves her in the apartment, takes her car, and leaves. The dad is periodically asking questions like, why would you do that, Wade? I don't understand. Why would you do that? And he says, I don't know, Dad. I don't know why I did it. I just wanted to do it. Wade then tells his dad about how he found a woman walking on the side of the road the next morning, and he was stopping to ask her for directions. This is after he beats up Mila. This is after he tries to kill Mila, but before Joe's Crab Shack.
So this is like, you were saying, like 9:30 a.m.-ish?
Yes. He finds a woman on the side of the road and he stops to ask her for directions. Somehow he manages to get this woman into the car. Whether it was by pure physical force or manipulation, I don't know. He strangles her, finds a place to dispose of her body, drags her out of the car, and then he realizes she's not dead. So he gets into the car and runs her over, quote, until she looked like spaghetti.
He just saw a random woman on the street, decided to
Murder her. Yeah.
for no reason.
Yes, his dad was also confused, so Stephen asked, why would you do that? You don't even know this woman. And he said, I thought, F it, already got one down. Most chilling part of this is the whole time Wade is describing what he did to his dad, and Stephen the dad describes it as being very excited. Like he wants his dad to be excited with him. Imagine if your son won the lottery. They want you to share in that joy and excitement with them. That's what he sounds like. He sounds very proud and happy.
When he talked about these two people who were no longer with us and that he was a killer, did he show any type of remorse?
But he also needs his dad's help right now to get away with this. Help him run. Get him out of town. Stephen, Wade's dad, is quiet for a moment before he says, okay, give me your address. I'll send you an Uber. Not too long after, a car pulls up to the driveway. Then another, and then another. But it's not an Uber. It's the U.S. Marshal's office. And they are here to arrest Wade Wilson. The police had already reached out to Wade's father, Stephen, and he had been helping them. While he's on the phone with Wade, trying to send him an Uber to help him get out of town, his wife Melanie is on the side texting the police the address to where Wade is. Stephen is actually pretty honest. He said, as a dad, I did hesitate on whether or not I should turn him in or not, or help him get away. And he just thought about the immediately. I don't think he pondered on this quite long, but he said immediately he just thought, what if that had been his wife or his sister or his daughter, right? He can't do this. And what if Wade is going to kill again? Then that's on him. He knows that he doesn't have a choice. He has to turn his son in.
And where was Wade?
He'd broken into a random person's house in a suburban neighborhood, and he was drinking 5 White Claws, eating popcorn, taking a shower, and wearing the homeowner's clothes.
Nobody was home.
They had recently just gone to Ohio, so this is like their second home. I believe they were on a flight to Ohio when this was happening, so they had just left.
Wow.
Yeah, the timing is a little crazy. Now, Wade is arrested very quickly inside a stranger's house. And he's very quick to tell the police everything he told his dad on one condition, that he gets a burger and some fries. He tells the police everything. He starts from the beginning about how he stole Mila's car from Buddha Bar, goes to Jason's house where he leaves the Hellcat because he can't drive it, then he goes to Christine's where they're finally Stephanie had already left. He strangles Christine to death. The whole thing is just bizarre. He doesn't give reasoning. After they were having fun, she was in her bed falling asleep. He just gets on top of her and, quote, I just decided I was going to kill her. Then he steals her car, drives to meet with Mila, nearly kills her, runs from the police that are called on him from the spot, and as he's driving around, he sees a woman walking down the street, minding her own business. He stops the car and asks for directions. He does not need directions. This woman is Diane Ruiz. She was walking the few blocks from her house to work. She works as a bartender at the Moose Lodge. It's maybe a 15-minute walk. She's the bartender there, but honestly, she's a lot more than that. The Moose Lodge always holds these kind of events for even kids and elderly. Sans alcohol, like no alcohol, of course. And she was always there working these events. People loved her. I mean, she had worked there for 3 years now. Everybody knew her. Whether he convinced her that he truly had no idea and it would just be so much easier if she could just get in the car for 2 seconds and help him down the street, or whether he forcibly dragged her into the car, or perhaps he told her, thank you so much for helping me, I can just drop you off at work since it's on the way. I don't know. I personally think that he forcibly dragged Diane into the car. He doesn't state that. He says that she willingly got into the car, but I disagree. Somehow Diane is in this man's car. He starts choking her while he's driving, and his head is on a swivel. He says that he's just looking for a place to dispose of Diane's body now. He stops near this empty wooded lot, drags her out, and realizes she's still breathing. He lays her body on the ground, and he gets into the car and starts driving forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, and a neighbor even testifies. A couple was eating breakfast that morning, and they had looked outside and they saw this random black Nissan just driving back and forth in one place over and over and over again, and then eventually drove off. And they didn't think anything of it until a little while later. There's crime scene tape everywhere. He said, quote, "I ran over her until she looked like spaghetti." And then he just leaves. And the authorities, they have the same questions as Wade's dad. Why would you do that? And he just tells the investigator, quote, "It came across my mind to just murder, just kill, kill, kill." He says, it's just like, you know what? I've already done it once. I'm going to do it again. It came across my mind to just murder, 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 just kill, kill, kill. He said that he could also sense Diane's fear, and that made him want to kill her. He said she really wanted out of the car bad at this point, and I could tell. I can sense her fear. I'm like a lion, and you're the prey. I can sense it. They can't get away from me, even if they wanted to. I'm too strong. I don't look strong, maybe, necessarily, but I can, believe it or not. I'm not trying to be mean, but I could take either of you two down. He's talking to the two detectives. He's like, I don't look strong, but I could take you down. And he said her fear is what triggered him to kill her, because he's a lion and she's the prey. He allegedly tells the authorities, and I would do it again. Afterwards, he drives to Joe's Crab Shack, where he is confronted by the police and manages to escape once more. Then he drives to the print shop and manages to escape once more. As for why he took Christine's phone, he states that somewhere along the Buddha bar or Raven's house, he had lost his phone. And before he left Christine's, so she's already deceased at this point, he needed a phone. He grabs hers and uses her face to unlock it with FaceTime. And he leaves. Police had already arrived at Christine's house by this point, and immediately upon walking in, they knew that clearly something was amiss. Someone had placed what seemed like a roll of blankets just in the middle of the hallway between the bedroom and the kitchen. They slowly approached the wad of blankets, and they quickly realized that at the center was Christine. Just from looking at her, her face is badly bruised. She has a swollen eye bruising up and down her body. Her fingernails are broken and chipped, indicating that she was asleep when he started strangling her, but she awoke and there was clearly a struggle, and she fought back hard. And what's crazy is, this isn't even the first time that the police had known about Wade Wilson. A few months before the murders, there was another situation. Kelly did not know Wade Wilson. Kelly is another woman, but she knew Stephen Wilson, not his dad, okay? But that was her boyfriend that she had been living with for the past 6 months. They started living together in 2018, but the incident takes place February 2019, and the murders are October 2019. So they start maybe dating a year before the murders. Kelly and Stephen are full-on living together when she finds some weird things in the house. It's like this weird glass contraption. It's obviously not hers, so it's got to be Stephen's. And she doesn't straight up ask Stephen about it because maybe she just has an inkling that he's going to lie to her. She ends up taking a picture of it, posting it onto Reddit, and asking Redditors, "Hi, hello, what is this? Is this like a drug thing? I don't know anything." Everyone starts commenting, "Oh yeah, that's a makeshift crack pipe. Your boyfriend's doing crack." Kelly also finds out that his name, her boyfriend's name that she's been living with for 6 months, isn't even Stephen Wilson. Well, I mean it is, but his real full name is Wade Stephen Wilson. And he's got 2 kids. He has children. Wade Wilson has kids. And he did not tell her about that. She ends up finding out through all of this by herself. She confronts him and he tries to convince her, "Those are my kids. Those are my friend's kids." Which, what? Like, we're not even getting into the drug usage. She hates it. She doesn't want drugs in the house. And the fact that he's constantly lying to her, in addition to all of that, Kelly would catch him cheating on her multiple times with multiple different women. He would deny it. She would at times catch him on camera cheating, and he would still deny it. She said this guy is a master manipulator. That's how he lives his life. I guess one day Wade had enough of being called out on his own bullshit, because Kelly comes home and everything is gone. Everyone and everything is gone. Not just Wade's stuff, but all of her stuff is gone too. He even took her gun and ran off. She reports it to the police, and they do nothing about it. Kelly would later say, "He didn't have any violent tendencies. He yelled a lot and was mentally abusive. He kicked a door in once, but he never hit me, and I just thought I was in a shit relationship. I didn't think anything of it until he tried to kill me." A few months before the murders, February 2019, the murders take place October 2019. This is the day before Kelly's birthday. Wade comes over to her house and he's like, I'm sorry. I'm going to go to rehab. I'm going to get the help that I need and we're going to be happy again. By the way, Kelly has like a whole TikTok series about this. She's like, I've been on this train before. I know where this is going. No, like you're not going to rehab and I know it. They start getting into this heated argument, screaming at each other. Wade leans over and starts choking Kelly, throws her into the backseat of her own car. He grabs a knife, cuts off all of her clothes, essays her. He starts biting her all over the face. He ends up busting open her lip. She's got ligature marks on her hands, knees, neck. Her neck marks are so deep that Wade's fingerprints are literally imprinted into the bruises on her neck. He then proceeds to tie her up, gag her, drive 3.5 hours to the Florida Keys, where he is definitely not going to rehab. Now, mind you, this whole car ride, Kelly has a shirt tied around her head. She's literally being kidnapped. Leggings stuffed into her mouth, and she's naked in the backseat. She also has a broken foot because he slammed the door on her foot. He just takes her on a journey, driving through a McDonald's, stealing her phone, selling it to buy crack. And eventually he leaves her in her car in the middle of nowhere to go hook up with another girl. Kelly manages to untie herself. She drives all the way back home. This is like 4 a.m. at this point. She said that she was speeding back home, quote, going like 100 miles an hour, trying to get someone to help me, hoping that I would get pulled over so that I could explain what was happening. Kelly states that the police took pictures of all of her injuries. She had a kit performed and received treatment from the hospital for several hours. But she states that the police did not care for the case. They found Wade down in Florida Keys, and he told the authorities, Kelly's just kind of into that thing. Like, into that kind of thing, choking and rough stuff. That's all it took. The incident report reads, quote, based on everything learned during the investigation, at the time the case will be inactive due to the following. There are no witnesses to the alleged crime and no evidence to establish probable cause.
No
The suspect has
evidence?
continued to deny the allegations and refuses to submit to an examination. The case will be inactive pending further investigations. Kelly also claims that the day that the police decided to deem the case inactive, Wade told authorities that Kelly was stalking him, that she was warning his current girlfriend about him, and that would be stalking, and the police were going to open an investigation into her. I don't think anything came of it, but still.
When I tried to pursue this, all of that disappeared. Everything from my trial was gone. My photos could no longer be found. No one found them. No one has them. I've never seen them, but I remember them being taken.
Kelly has also stated on her TikTok that Wade tied up another girlfriend of his and threw her out into a parking lot completely naked, and that at one point he dated a man and ended up stabbing him. Yes, so Wade dated a man prior to, I think it was after Kelly, and he ended up stabbing the man, stabbing his boyfriend.
This is all from Kelly.
Yes. Now, Kelly states that she has since gotten an attorney, and she firmly believes that had the police believed her or even tried to investigate a little bit, had they arrested Wade, he would have not killed the other 2 women later on. She's also very vocal about how much she hates the man, which is understandable. What she says, I want nothing to do with him until it's time to watch him fry, and I will be in the front row with a big old sign saying fry. Yeah, fry as in executed. What is certifiably frightening is the fact that when Kelly shared her story on TikTok after Wade Wilson's arrest, after he was already going viral on TikTok for being hot, okay, people commented on her video, well, you're a 3 and he's a 10.
Bruh.
After her traumatic story of being kidnapped and essayed by a now convicted killer, and how perhaps if the police had listened to her, none of this would have happened, there were some people still focused on the fact that they believe he's more conventionally attractive. I really hope that these netizens are not 18 or registered to vote in the U.S. this upcoming election because I'm terrified. Now, some people on TikTok seem to excuse double homicide for the pure fact that they like this man's face tattoos. It's kind of wild. That is why Wade Wilson is going viral on TikTok. They keep playing his court videos with the Joker jokes overlaid or the Joker audio overlaid. One TikTok is of him in court, and there's audio of the Joker's voice from the movies saying, remember this, nobody watches you harder than the people who don't like you. So give them a show they'll never forget. Yes, he's on trial for double homicide. There's also this one moment in court where I don't know why he's doing this, but he's kind of placing both of his hands and getting them over his frontal pants area, and the comments are genuinely thirsting over this move. They love his hand placement, and when someone tells them, hey, this is actually insane, they say, we don't like what he did, but let's take his face tattoos. And let us have a full rundown of some of his tattoos and their meanings, shall we? Even after some of these people have been told what the tattoos mean, they still don't care though. I'm just gonna say that. He has the word live tattooed on his fingers, L-I-V-E. He has TTG tattooed on the right side of his forehead, which allegedly stands for time to go or train to go, as in ready to fight. He has bread for war tattooed in big letters under his chin, again, as in ready to fight, ready for war. He has the letters NMM on his left jaw. That the meaning seems a bit more up in the air, but some people believe that it's a reference to Deadpool, the Marvel character. N as in Nancy, M as in mom, M as in mom. So that's the tattoo that Wade Wilson is the Deadpool's name in the movie.
So they share the same.
Yes, and that's why some people are calling the Deadpool killer right now, especially because the new Deadpool series came out around the same time that his verdict came out. And yeah, it's just the timing's horrendous. Now, Deadpool's alter ego is Wade Wilson, and Deadpool M-Day tattooed on his body for the day that he mutants lost their power. So some people think it's a reference to his name being Deadpool, but it's very unclear. Around his eye, he has the words, why so serious? Which is likely a reference to Heath Ledger's iconic line in 2008, The Dark Knight, as the Joker. And then he has the words, ha ha ha, tattooed underneath. He also has a wannabe Glasgow smile tattooed onto his face, which is, you know, where the Joker has his lips cut to his ears. He has a tattoo again. This is not a real thing. It's a tattoo. And it might have to do with Heath Ledger's next line in the film, which is, he sticks the blade in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face. Why so serious? He sticks a blade in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face. He also has the number 14 on the right side of his neck, which is a white number that gives him 14 words that work for we must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. He has the number 88 tattooed on his neck next to the 14, which is the numeric code for the 8th letter of the alphabet, aka H. So 88 would be HH, and for white supremacist, it stands for Heil Hitler. And the combination of the numeric codes 14 and 88 is typically a very white supremacist number. He also has two Nazi symbols, one under his right eye. Yeah, in case you're like, well, no, the 1488 could mean something else. Maybe it's January 4th, 1988. No, he has a Nazi symbol under his right eye, and another one on his scalp. But a lot of the times, the one on his scalp is hidden by his hair. It's huge. It takes up like half of the right side of his scalp. Now, the thing is, when he went to the Buddha bar in 2019, when he committed these murders, he did not have any face tattoos. Otherwise, I don't think Mila would have dated him. I don't think Christine would have given him the time of day. I don't think Diane would have even stopped momentarily to help give him directions. I mean, you see one Nazi symbol on the face, you're running. But he didn't have any of these tattoos on his face in 2019, or in his mugshot. He wasn't allowed on bail, so how did he suddenly show up to court with these tattoos all over his face? October 2020, almost exactly a year after the murders, Wade has been sitting in prison waiting for this upcoming trial. He was obviously denied bail. And that is when a little note gets slipped underneath a different cell door. The note reads along the lines of, I'm here for 2 murders, but I'm going to leave around 1 or 2 a.m. There's also an address. This is where I want to be picked up. It seems like an arrangement. What do you mean you're leaving at 1 or 2 in the morning? This is prison. You don't just get to leave when you want to leave. A man named Curtis in the cell picks up the note and he smirks. Message received. I mean, for Curtis, not for Curtis's cellmate who's sitting there like, what do these people think we're doing? This is not an episode of Prison Break. He goes to the guards, tells them what he saw, everything. He tells them from start to finish. The guards storm the entire cell block, full lockdown in pod 1. And sure enough, in one of the cells, the glass on the window had been cracked. Side note, the window was too tall for anyone to actually climb through, but the metal stool that was bolted into the ground was also found to have been pried off. Someone had ripped it off from the ground. So whoever did this, they're determined to get out, but not smart.
So, what is that? So
Okay, the window is really tall, So there's no way that anyone, even someone 6'6", could get through the window unless they have some sort of leverage. But the furniture in cells are usually bolted to the ground because of that reason. Someone had pried off a metal stool that's bolted to the ground.
So they can step on it.
Yes, they ripped it off so that they could step on it. They're determined, but they're not smart, because even if you get that window cracked open, it's so small. Like, they make them small for a reason. It's not going to fit an average male body through it, let alone a 6'6" dude. Additionally, even after the window, we're still talking about multiple layers of barbed wire, guards with guns, security, alarm triggers, CCTV. I guess we'll never know if they had a whole plan to outsmart any of that, because both Wade and his cellmate are caught. They're charged with attempted prison escape and criminal mischief. Side note, the whole time Wade is in prison waiting for his trial, he is just overall a mess. He keeps reaching out to news networks to talk about what happened, and each time he just changes story. First, he stated Christine was alive and well when he left her house, and that Diane was the one that asked him for a ride, and that he dropped her off at a bus stop. Are you guilty of those murders? Did you commit those murders concerning Christine Walton and Diane Lawrence? April of 2023, Wade was caught running an unauthorizated scheme in prison. He was charged with attempted trafficking of crystal meth inside a prison. He also snitched on another inmate of his who was trying to kill the mother of his child. There is an inmate by the name of Tristan Gendon, and he wanted to kill the mother of his child. He asks Wade, "Can you help me kill the mother of my child, who's obviously not in prison?" And Wade is like, "How would I do that? I'm in prison." And he says, "Well, of course, I think you know some people on the outside." He promises Wade a $250,000 payout, which I highly doubt that he's telling the truth here. And I think Wade also knew that Tristan is not a believable character. Tristan even wrote this letter for Wade, detailing how he's going to get paid. He literally writes the evidence. He writes, "Next plan involves going to funeral home and crocking my pop safe open to extract drug money and hit money for Valerie. ADT security pin to disarm system is blank. Garage door code is blank. Easy ass in and out, and you can open safe with diamond blade demolition saw. Easy $250,000 in there." Could have been done already. Yeah, Wade wasn't buying it because he goes straight to the prison guards and snitches on him. He says, "People would accept 100,000, 200,000, surely, but I'm not that type of person. I don't know
You're
her
just getting
personally
really
whatsoever from a can of paint, but it doesn't matter. She's a person."
No way.
I think that he knew he wasn't going to get paid. I think that he knew that he didn't have anyone on the outside to do this, and he was going to use this to his advantage to make himself look like a moral person. But it's just all very transparent what he's trying to do here, no? So he actually ends up receiving the tattoos in prison. He gets all of the face tattoos in prison, but he chose to get these tattoos in prison while awaiting trial. Now, obviously, these new prison face tattoos are not going to do him any favors during the trial. His attorneys motion to let Wade change his appearance for the trial, aka, "Can we please let him get a haircut, get some suits, and clean up his face tattoos, whether it's covering them with makeup or something?" The judge grants this. They give Wade permission to cover up his face tattoos, his clearly racist, obnoxious, and honestly just very poorly done tattoos on his face. But when Wade shows up to court with his new suit, new haircut, and new face tattoos, his attorney sits down next to him, takes one look at the side of Wade's face, and he looks genuinely disgusted. He shakes his head and he whispers to the co-counsel, and he just looks grossed out. Because Wade asked the judge for a haircut. He does get one, but he does a strong fade on the sides of his head, and he's basically showcasing the giant Nazi symbol tattooed onto his scalp.
Yeah, so he gets the tattoo in prison, these very, very specific tattoos, and he decides to show it in court.
Yes.
I think that says more than enough.
Yeah, and he goes out of his way to show it in court.
Yeah.
Okay, covering up the face tattoos, maybe that's... I honestly don't know why he wouldn't do that. But to intentionally get a haircut to show off the scalp Nazi symbol, it's crazy.
And this is not even like a momentary, like, oh, I'm not.
No.
Like, this is like a decision he's made over and over and over.
Yes. Now, that moment of the attorney being disgusted by his own client has gone viral online. as well as another moment that Wade shares with another one of his attorneys, a blonde female attorney. He is leaning closer to whisper something, which is kind of what you do in court. You can't really speak loudly, but that moment has been romanticized by some people on TikTok because they keep comparing this scene to the scene of Harley Quinn and Joker from Suicide Squad. Yeah, there are edits all over TikTok of just Wade walking into the courtroom, and I guess there's a noticeable bulge in his pants. And the comments on the fan edit of him walking into court read, "It walked into the room before he did," and people are having a blast. There's another fan edit where he's walking into the courtroom in his suit, and there's 2 police officers watching him because, you know, he's a dangerous killer. But the song on this one goes, "As I walk," you know the song, "As I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, I take a look at my life and I realize there's nothing left." They think he's the Joker, and the comments read, "He walks in like he's about to lead a very important all-company staff meeting. He walks in like he's a model for Hugo Boss. The attorney has a thing for him for sure. He walked in like he's the attorney. He walks into the courtroom as if he's the judge." Heart emoji. "He walks in like he's the president. He's the CEO of the court." Another fan edit includes a song by Eminem called Spacebound. The lyrics go, "Nobody knows me, I'm cold, walk down this road all alone, it's no one's fault but my own, it's the path I've chosen to go, frozen to snow, I show no emotions whatsoever, so don't ask me why I have no love for fucking hoes." It's a fan edit with just screen captures of him from the trial. You know, the trial where he's being tried for double homicide? And one of the comments reads, "As a family therapist myself, I cannot imagine this court without a report and explanation of how the adoptive parents treated and influenced this young man." Another fan edit is just of him walking into court. There's a sad song playing in the back. The caption reads, "How do people say he's showing no emotions? I see he is sad, hopeless, and helpless. Let's forgive because at the end of the day, nothing is going to change. Peace." And they do a peace emoji. Another comment reads, "I can see his aura. He killed his emotions too. He accepts his situation. That's why he looks like that." In another TikTok, there's whole TikTok pages, multiple TikTok pages dedicated to him. One comment on that page reads, "I don't support what you did, but I just see a lot of suffering in your eyes." There is also a change.org petition to stop Wade Wilson's death penalty execution because this is a death penalty trial in Florida, which I wouldn't even be talking about this petition in this context if it were a genuine, or at least in my opinion, a genuine petition organized by those who genuinely just are opposed to the death penalty across the board. And regardless of if it's Wade Wilson or anybody else in the world, they would be fighting for their rights to live. That is a very different story. We are not here to argue whether the death penalty is good or bad. But just reading the comments left behind on this petition, it is pretty clear. Some of these petitioners, they could care less about the morality behind executions carried out by the state. Even the original petition, again, like I said, if it's a petition created by someone who just genuinely is opposed to the death penalty, I would not be talking about it in this manner. But the petition itself includes a poem. The poem reads, "You wear a mask of tattoos as your disguise, but I see the pain and sadness in your eyes.
Oh my God,
It's clear by your beauty that God wanted you to live a beautiful life, filled with joy and the love of a devoted wife. But after a life of abuse, a damaged boy remains, a boy who is shackled in sorrow and chains. You had a life of torture and didn't get the chance to find a way to fight the demons you face night and day. As the verdict looms, the world spreads hate, but should never be free to die. This man doesn't deserve death. He needs help." Praying emoji, crying emoji, broken heart emoji. This is so heartbreaking. Another reads, "I wish I would have known him sooner. So many people don't realize how much good there is within. Society failed. Society failed everybody. I do not support the death penalty in this matter or case. The death penalty is murder. Murder is a sin. Therefore, if he is sentenced to the death penalty, it makes him no better than a murderer." He still needed time to develop. He's 25, okay? He had a rough upbringing into his adolescence. The pain in his eyes from seeing his dad brought out hidden trauma of neglect and abandonment. Suffering in your own pain brings a lot of cognitive issues and out of touch of reality. This guy deserves a second chance to I've been exposed to people with different types of, they can decide if a person lives or not. It doesn't even make sense. At this point, irony is just sitting in the room with us. Another person comments, "We all make bad choices, some worse than others, but there's no reason to kill somebody for the things they did." One just reads, "Save Wade. He doesn't deserve the death penalty. Save Wade, save Wade, save Wade, save Wade." Or, "I think he was set up for this. He deserves a chance to speak." Yes, he was given a chance to speak. He said he ran an innocent woman over until she turned into spaghetti. That's what he said. Some people in the comments actually question his guilt. So that's the whole thing. Some people believe that he's being framed. Where did they get this crazy idea, you ask? From Wade Wilson himself. In 2020, the year after his initial arrest, he told a news station that he had been involved with some very shady people in the past, like really shady. They were traffickers. Trafficking syndicates. They trafficked all sorts of commodities, drugs, humans. He used to manage the product, aka he used to groom women for them, manipulate the women into becoming victims. And then he wrote it out. He was like, "My soul needs to have this way. I need to get out." And they said, "No, you're never getting out." And he said, "No, I must." And they framed him for the murders.
I'm just a man sitting in jail, and I'm being slandered, I'm being talked down to, I'm being put on a very bad place. I'm being put in a very bad place, and it's not fair to me. I have a family, I have 2 children.
So because of that, one comment in the Change.org petition reads, "There are too many holes in this story. You know how many people got locked up and are not actually guilty? Imagine putting someone to death and they weren't guilty. I believe he's covering for someone. He already said he had to lie and confess to protect his kids. What if he didn't do it and we kill him? And the death penalty won't bring them back. Someone who is in pain and has had lots of trauma deserves a chance to be happy and find God, even if it's locked away. He deserves a chance at life with meaning, and his kids deserve to have their daddy around." It's likely that some of these netizens have a actual interest in those who commit crimes. It usually manifests in those who believe that they can change someone, that someone is so evil and is so willing to kill, but they will go to the ends of the earth to, I guess, protect the ones that they love, that only they can heal the inner child of the killer and nurture them. They think that they're living in their own dark romance novel, but no, you're living in a true crime documentary because you're going to be next. Like, I don't know how else to put it. And I know some people consider this case a Book Talk case because there were some people on Book Talk that were, I guess, romanticizing it as a dark romance. But none of the Book Talk guys would do this. I mean, if you read a dark romance book, I don't think that they don't do stuff like this. It's just bizarre. There are people even writing letters to the judge that read, "If you look past his tattoos to his face structure since being in prison and medicated, he's healthier. His face is fuller compared to his booking pictures mugshot where his face is gaunt, pale, and he looks unhealthy." He's been healthier since being in prison, so in this healthy state of mind, he is fully committed to the white supremacist tattoos on his face. I mean, I feel like the argument is not being proven here. Again, we're talking about the white supremacist Wade Wilson. Not only is his face a walking racist poster board, but he's part of the prison gang Unforgiven. It is the largest white supremacist prison gang in Florida. Meanwhile, Christine and Diane are gone, and I don't think that they've publicly stated anything about seeing these TikToks that have been made about Wade Wilson, and I don't even think that's something that we could be able to comprehend, the amount of anger, or I don't know exactly what the word would be if they were to stumble upon them, but Christine lived alone with her cat Monty. Monty was actually a fixture in a lot of the crime scene photos. The jury and the court had seen him in a lot of the pictures, and they just called him the fat cat. Because after Christine's very vicious murder, after the police arrived at the apartment, after CSI came to take pictures, through all of that, Monty refused to leave Christine's side.
Good kid.
So that is why he is in a lot of the crime scene photos. Christine's cousin gave a victim impact statement where she says, "Christine adored her mother. They were 2 peas in a pod. They were the same and different in the most beautiful ways. They lived less than 1 block apart in 2019 when this occurred. Christine's mother has not been at this trial. Once Christine was murdered, she was never the same. How could she be? Her health declined quickly. She left Florida and is now cared for by their son in Maryland. Christine's mother is my godmother. When she left Florida, she made me promise to see this trial through, and I have kept that promise. We all have. We have sat through graphic testimony and heard all the positively gruesome details of how our girl met our end. And I sit here today and I listen because that's what Christine would have done. She would have sacrificed her sanity to see justice done, and so I have done the same. Losing Christine has been like loving Christine. It has changed the courses of our lives forever. Losing someone to murder is foul and vicious and soul crushing, and with one exception, and she looks straight at Wade, and he looks straight back at her. She says, with one exception, I would not wish it on my worst enemy.
With one exception, I would not wish it on my worst enemy. The prosecution has won this trial, but I assure you, the family, friends, and loved ones of Christine Ann Melton have only lost.
Zane Romero was 11 when his father died, and he was 14 when his mother, Diane, was murdered. Wade Wilson orphaned a child. Now in court, Zane is 19. I mean, he's barely an adult, but he's somehow brave enough to stand in front of his mother's killer. He tells the court, "My name is Zane Romero. I'm a 19-year-old college student going for my bachelor's in graphic design. I am Diane Ruiz's youngest child. I was 14 when she passed. I was just starting my freshman year of high school, and she was so excited to see me grow up and so proud of what I was growing into. She supported me in all my dreams and only tried to help and uplift me when I was taking on new risks and challenges. My father unfortunately passed away when I was only 11. My mother was all I had left. I was barely 2 months into my first year of high school when she passed. I was in marching band, and the week prior she was telling me how excited she was to go and watch me perform at the weekend's football game. It would have been her first time seeing me perform. That was my first year in the marching band. She would never get to see me perform, and I would never get the experience of seeing her in the crowd. My mother supported my dreams and only ever wanted me to succeed in life. She always made sure that all the hard work I was putting into my education wasn't going unnoticed. She would always show up with these random gifts that helped me succeed in life for what I needed. She was raised in a tough home environment and only ever wanted to give me and my brother just nothing like that. She wanted us to grow up in a loving home and for us to be happy. Diane was engaged to be married, and her fiancé testified. He broke out into tears during his testimony because that morning the last text message she ever sent him was, she was upset at him because she didn't think that he kissed her goodbye before he left for her. And he said that he absolutely did. There have been a few viral clips from the trial. On one trial date, there were 2 detectives who testified back to back. When the male detective testifies, Wade is just his normal emotional range, which is just flat. There's nothing behind the eyes. Some say there's pain. I say there's radio silence back there. He's flat. But right after the male detective testifies, a female detective starts testifying, and he starts smirking, full on staring at her, running his tongue over his teeth inside his mouth, smirking at her. It's like he's trying to incite something. As we talked about earlier, some supporters of Wade's were arguing that he's suffering from mental illnesses, which is why he should not be sentenced to death. Some further context in the trial was that when Wade was super young, there were some reports that he was struggling with his mental health, which, yeah, okay, a lot of us are. We don't go on to kill for fun. But it stated that he was very paranoid that people were watching his adoptive family, and he insisted that all the blinds be closed. Another time, his dad called the police because Wade was allegedly convinced that there was an entity in the garage. Nobody found anything or any entity in the garage that Wade was referring to. So growing up, there were a few other instances where he was heavily involved in sports, and he had a lot of head injuries from playing said sports. It's said that it resulted in a concussion a couple of times. There's also arguments that that's where his problems began, that he started doing drugs afterwards, and even at 20 years old, he was in a car accident where he suffered from a concussion when his car hit a tree. Now, during the trial, of course, his attorneys try to argue this is why he's not well in the head. This is why he did what he did. But CT scans showed no abnormalities in his brain.
Really?
It is argued that they should have gotten MRIs, which are a lot more detailed, like screen grabs, I guess you could say, of the brain snaps. But prison records show that he's been diagnosed with multiple different conditions, including depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and antisocial personality disorder, which again, many people have been, and they don't kill anybody. Multiple doctors were called in to analyze Wade and testify later on the stand. They do agree that he has significant frontal lobe impairment, which would affect his executive functioning and decision making as well as impulse control. And he also likely suffers from some sort of mental disorder, but so do a lot of people, and they don't kill anybody. The prosecutors argued that he was clearly not in a state of psychosis when he committed the crimes. There's evidence of him very clearly trying to run away from the crimes multiple times from the police. He's trying to get help. He's trying to go and get a train ticket out of there, a plane ticket. They also argued that the damage to his brain could not be a mental disorder and could just be from prolonged drug use. Which, like, should society have to pay for that? Like, that's crazy. The jury deliberated for 1 hour and 45 minutes and voted 9-3 in favor of the death penalty. Now, this is very interesting because Florida, not too long ago, passed a law where the death penalty does not have to be unanimous.
Okay.
Yes, so 9-3 is enough. 10-2 voted for the death penalty for the murder of Diane. So 9-3 for Christine's murder and 10-2 for the murder of Diane. During the reading of the verdict, he is completely emotionless. Like, he had more emotions when the female detective was testifying. The judge will be the final decider on whether or not he will be placed on death row and further executed by the state. The judge is going to make that final decision August 27th of 2024, so in like a week or two.
August 27th.
Yes. Yeah, in a few weeks. Later, one of the jurors, an anonymous female juror, would tell Week News, there were times where, he and I would lock eyes and just stare at each other, and there's definitely a very noticeable thing when you're seeing somebody that has done these horrific things that he did. There are certain images that we had to see during this trial that we could never unsee. And that is the story.
Oh my gosh, he's
And how he's gotten over 4,000 letters at this point, I'm sure.
4,000.
Letters, yeah. Digital letters, physical letters,
So
nude
he's a good.
photos that have been flagged.
He's a good.
Almost 200 nude photos that the prison guards were like, yeah, we're not going to let this through. People genuinely think that they can change him. And they love his face tattoos, which is, I feel like, what? It's basically, you're racist. If you love his, I don't even know what to say. How can you love his face tattoos? They're not even well done. What are your thoughts on this
They
case?
love the
Please let
Joker.
me
They
know in the
love Jared
comments.
Leto's
And
Joker.
please stay safe.
Bada bing, bada boom.
April 7th, 2022. Dr. Nandifa, or as her patients call her, Dr. Nandi, walks into the morgue. She's walking past all the guards through the hallways. I mean, it's not like it's her first time here. She's going to be very quick, in and out, get what she needs, and get out the morgue. That's the plan. Most of the staff, they probably already know Dr. Nandi, so that's going to make things a lot easier. They don't know her because she works at the morgue, though. It's not like she's a doctor that closely works with the deceased bodies like a forensic pathologist. Dr. Nandi is actually a celebrity doctor. She provides non-surgical solutions like Botox and chemical peels to some of the top celebrities, movie stars of South Africa. And almost like in the K-pop world, some of the K-pop makeup artists or the hairstylists, they go viral and they almost become a celebrity in their own right. And that's what happened to Dr. Nandi. She's a very well-known figure in the area. So what is she doing in a morgue? I mean, the dead typically don't require facelifts. So she walks up to the desk, pulls out this official documentation from her purse. I'm here to pick up my father's body. Dr. Nandi does not hold a funeral for her father's body. Instead, very early that same morning, she parks her Porsche and has a very discreet burial. She buries her father in a very private, nobody else is invited, only she's there to watch the coffin drop into the ground. But within a few weeks, she's back at the morgue again, picking up another body. And she's having another discreet, very private, quiet burial with nobody in attendance. And then, like clockwork, she's back at the morgue again, picking up another body. Now it's getting a little bit suspicious. What would a famous aesthetic doctor that caters to celebrities have anything to do with these random bodies from the morgue? Or is everybody around her just dropping dead? Authorities will eventually dig up her father's body, and when they open up the coffin, they find that it is filled to the brim with rotting animal meat. Another body that she picks up would be found in the river with the mortuary tag still attached to their toe, which begs the question, whose body is she taking from the morgue then? Why does she keep taking bodies from the morgue? What the hell is she doing with them? But perhaps the most important question, what does she have to do with a murderer that was found burned to death in his jail cell? This is the very complicated, nearly unbelievable case of Thabo Bester. We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support Keep the Dream 196. They are a South African-based nonprofit that is focused on educating and empowering young girls and women on reproductive health, HIV and STI prevention, and signs of violence. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team, and we would also like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates. As always, show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. Now, today's case does cover multiple cases of SA, and there are a few brief mentions of CSA. If that's a bit too much for you today, please take care of yourself. We will see you in the next one. Today's case is also based on the book, The Thabo Bester Story, by Maricia Damons and Daniel Stein. They were the lead investigative journalists that broke the story and first published their suspicions about this whole case when it first broke, which eventually led to the truth being uncovered for the public. The book is available for U.S. readers on Kindle. So with that being said, let's get started. They say the scent of human flesh that is burning on fire is a very distinct scent. Because, people say when people die, there's a scent that emanates from human dead bodies. And some people say it's very sweet. There's a little bit of a nutty, aromatic essence to it. And then there's people who talk about what human meat must taste like, and they liken it to pork. Well, when you light a human on fire, the muscles of the human flesh, they say, have a distinctly beef-like smell. It smells like if you were to light a steak on fire. But if you were to light a fattier part of the body on fire, where there's a little bit more of the fat, it smells like pork. And the smell of burning flesh becomes overpowering in the Mangwan prison in South Africa, which is alarming even for this specific prison standards. According to some netizens, South African prisons are amongst the worst in the whole world. One comment reads, aside from overcrowding, from the last meal of the day being served at 4 p.m., authorities give the gangs free rein. If you're not part of the gang, you're fair game to be R-worded, to be subjected to other forms of brutality. You're gonna sleep in the piss-covered floors next to the communal toilet, which is shared by about 90 inmates. It's disgusting, filthy, the showers don't work. There's 90 men sleeping in cells that are designed to only sleep 36. It is best to avoid at all costs. Another netizen shared a story of how a relative was in prison in Cape Town for being caught with drugs at a concert. And they said he was there briefly, but the biggest standout was there was a gang member who was HIV positive, and he poked himself with a needle and would go around harassing everyone, forcing them to do what he says unless they wanted to get stabbed with AIDS, basically. May 3rd, 2022. It's really early in the morning. Most of the prisoners are asleep when they hear this loud banging noise. It sounds like a firework going off, just bang. And then the sound is echoing off the prison hallways. And the whole section of the prison, they go silent. I mean, everybody's slightly on edge. Is that someone starting a riot? Is somebody escaping? What's going on? Is it a gang-related war? What is it? But then nothing happens. So some of the prisoners, they roll back to sleep. Others roll on their sides and they're chit-chatting with their cellmates until 3 a.m. rolls around and another loud bang goes off. And it's even louder than the first one. It almost feels like a bomb this time, not even a firework, an explosion. The ground is briefly shaking and the prisoners, they're staring at the opening. They try to look down the hallway and it's like a chimney. The hallway is a chimney. There are big masses of gray smoke that's just billowing down now. Some of the inmates, they run, grab their blankets to cover their mouths. Others are rushing to get the guards' attention. When the guards are finally alerted, this is what they do. They briefly glance at the CCTV cameras. I don't see a fire. They say they don't see any smoke on the CCTV cameras. So why go investigate? Maybe that's why it takes them a while to finally recognize, no, the CCTV cameras are not working properly. There is a fire. You need to go put it out. When they do, they go into cell 35, where there was some sort of explosion, some sort of fire. They put it out, and underneath this gasoline-soaked mattress that's burnt to a crisp, it looks like a piece of toast. Under the mattress is the fried, dead body of a man named Thabo Bester, a convicted serial R-worder and a convicted killer. Initially, there must have been some doubts on what happened inside this cell because, I mean, it doesn't make sense. How do you even create a fire of this size? How do you get that much gasoline into a cell, smuggle it in, pour it all over a mattress, and then light it on fire? It's very quickly ruled that Thabo Bester self-exited in prison.
You say the body was under the mattress?
Yes, like underneath the bed.
Like in between the bed and the floor?
Yes. It's very strange. And some people think it's very weird, but they deem it a self-exit. Some people aren't so sure, because Thabo recently requested protection from the number 26 gang. He stated that he couldn't pay them, and now they're out to get him, they're after him. This is a few days before he dies. He's begging the guards, please, you need to move me into solitary confinement because they're out to get me, they're gonna kill me. That's why they finally moved him to the isolated cell at the end of the long hallway. The 26 Numbers gang, by the way, is actually just a faction of the Number Gang. That's what they're called. The Number Gang is one of the world's oldest gangs that are still active to this day. I think they were created and formed in the 1800s. They have 3 arms, or factions, if you will. The 26s, the 27s, and the 28s. The 26s are like the treasury entrepreneurial side of the gang. They import currency, tobacco, and drugs into the prison, and they collect all the little funds. They're the money makers. They also force a lot of the prisoners that are not part of the gang to pay a protection fee, aka you pay me money to protect yourself from me. Racketeering, if you will. They are the masters of smuggling and manipulation. The 27s, they're the military of the gang. They're the most feared faction, most violent. And the 28s, they defend prisoners' rights, which they're not out here protesting. They'll just straight up attack guards. However, in exchange for that, the 28s will also essay all of the prisoners that they feel they want to essay in return.
So they're all in prison, per se?
It's mainly a prison gang. Now, the 28s, it's very interesting because if the guards are not feeding you on time, they will attack the guards, but also at night, they will essay the same prisoners. It's just a very fascinating setup. If Thabo Bester was asking for protection from the Numbers gang just a few days before he died, is it not possible that maybe one of the gang members killed him? I mean, it doesn't make sense. The government very quickly rules the fact that Thabo Bester self-exited, which is very interesting because if he's able to smuggle gallons of gasoline into the cell and something to light a fire with, you would imagine that he's able to smuggle a lot more that's easier to self-exit or less painful. Why would he choose self-immolation? That's a very rare way to pass. I mean, it's an unavoidable, blatant question in everybody's face, but nobody asks. I think nobody cares. Everyone is just happy that the famous serial R-worder and killer is dead. And within hours, the entire cell where he died is cleaned of any remnants of petrol, smoke, wiped down, repainted, and ready to take in another inmate. While Thabo Bester's body is quietly sent to this government morgue, 5 days later, a woman is going to walk in with her father. Name? Dr. Nandifa Magadumana. What can I help you with? We're here to pick up a body. She's here to claim the body of a man everyone calls the Facebook artist, Thabo Bester. What the hell is a celebrity doctor doing picking up the body of a convicted killer? Thabo's favorite crimes were the ones that he could commit on Facebook. That's why he's called the Facebook R-worder. He would pose as this world-renowned marketing manager for a massive modeling agency or a fashion house or even a TV show. He would offer the woman the chance to become the next Gigi Hadid as long as they met up with him for a paid photo shoot. He was never sleazy about it. That's a very interesting thing. Everything about his listings are highly professional. He never goes out of his way to message girls directly to ask them to come work with him. It just feels like a good opportunity. He's posting an advertisement. If you want to go and you want to model for this man, which it seems like it's in your best interest because he's created a lot of models before, then it's a good opportunity. You go meet with this man.
What do you mean? Like he has a legitimate business or he's a famous photographer?
He says he is. He says he's both of those. He's a famous agent.
change it.
Yes.
To make him into a star.
Yes.
And he does have a record of that on Facebook.
He says. Yes. Now, when the women arrive at the photo shoot location, it's very professional. It is indeed a very nice photo shoot. Multiple cameramen are running around for the best shots. There's assistants with Bluetooth wires in their ears. There's professional lighting crew. The girls would model, and nothing would be overtly simple. It's exactly what they agreed on. It's not like they get there for a clothing brand photo shoot and suddenly they're modeling lingerie. It's everything that they agreed upon. And at the very end of this long workday, Tabo would help all of the camera guys, the lighting crew, pack up all their expensive things into this massive van that's going to drive them back to town. But not before he treats them all to one big meal. As a treat, we finished the photo shoot. This is going to be great. We're going to make so much money. This is going to go to a very confidential, massive fashion brand, and we're going to get paid. So he takes them all out to eat, and while they're in the middle of this expensive steakhouse meal, he's going to excuse himself to go use the restroom and never come back. The camera guys, the lighting crew, the models, they will find themselves stuck with this massive steak bill. But worse than that, all of their professional gear in the truck that he helped load up
He's still
gone. He run them clean.
Wait, so he found a bunch of contractor photographers.
Yes.
Everyone's like for hire.
Yes,
And he steals their equipment.
all of it. But it's such a long con because he goes through the whole photo shoot.
Yeah. So his main thing was the equipment.
Yes. He's very ballsy with it too. He's not just posting these small little photo shoots. He would post all over forums, pull advertisements, spend money to get ad slots. The ad would read, Tyra Banks is at it again. This time, her and her co-presenter, Tom Kelly, are looking for Africa's next big thing. The winner is expected to walk away with a $55,000 contract with Tyra Banks Modeling Agency and a 6-month contract to be the face of Louis Vuitton and will be co-presenting on Tyra Banks' newest show. Women from countries such as, but not limited to, Nigeria, South Africa, Mozambique, Zambia, Botswana, the Ivory Coast are to compete for the prestigious title of Africa's Next Top Model. The auditions will be held March 28th at the Santon Convention Center. The show will air on TV April 15th. It is going to be so much fun. The dates of the competition actually coincide with the airing of the 6th season of America's Next Top Model, but I guess in this case, Africa's Next Top Model, which Tyra Banks was involved in. So it kind of makes sense. The only iffy part of this whole thing is you would have to pay $22 to enter. But that's still really nothing, considering the winner is going to get a $55,000 modeling contract with Tyra Banks, in addition, $100,000 in cash. Not only do almost 100 women pay the entrance fee to join the competition, but Tabo would round them up in a facility, confiscate all their phones and electronics. This is a highly confidential shoot. This is very standard. Please put your phone. Let's log it in. Okay, sign in your phone, make and model. Perfect. Put it in the bag. Next, I need your phone. I'm sorry, it's a confidential shoot.
Wait, he legitimately tried to pull off a huge event.
And he does pull it off. He rents out the convention center, but he leaves before he has to pay the bill. I guess they don't do a pre-deposit.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, this will quickly get caught, no? Like,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, this is too crazy.
There's a reason he doesn't get caught. Now, he will just run off with all their folks. And the money.
Stealing iPhone.
Yes, and the $22 of entrance fees. Now, sometimes he would even go as far to lease private jets, somehow convince these private jet chartering companies to fly him to a different city in South Africa with models. He would book a return flight. So when they land in the new city, the private jet would just wait on whatever they wait on, and he would just leave. It's a free ride to this new city. He would never fly back with them, and he wouldn't pay them for the private flight to the city. Other times for more intimate photo shoots, in the sense that there's not a lot of models on site, he would lure some of the models to his hotel room for a quick interview. He would say that this modeling job is highly confidential and it's fast-tracked right now. They need to find someone quick. But instead he would essay the girls, rob them, and leave them. Honestly, that's putting it lightly. We don't have more in-depth accounts of how many times he committed these crimes or more descriptions of exactly what he said and did to lure these girls. But we do know that on at least one occasion, he convinced a 24-year-old model to come to his photo shoot, audition for the role to become an MTV presenter, like an MTV TV show host. But instead, he dragged her into his hotel room, essayed her, stabbed her in the face, strangled her, nearly killing her, stole her car, credit cards, and phone, and fled the scene to go shopping at the mall. On another occasion, he had a girlfriend that he was dating. She introduced him to a model that might want to work with him. She's like, hey, boyfriend, here's a model. You're a modeling agent. Why not make this work? He ends up essaying the model, then fleeing with all of her credit cards. I mean, truly, no concern or worry that he's going to get in trouble for any of these crimes. That's how he gets the name of the Facebook R-worder. But he is doing a lot more than that. Tabo even had a business set up with a very famous doctor called Aaron Properties. Essentially, they would build a high-profile clientele with a lot of money, dream homes. It's like HGTV. They're luxury buildings. The reason they should choose Aaron, all these wealthy people in South Africa, over any other building company is Aaron knows the markets really well. They know which areas are good, which ones are bad, how to build a home that's going to last forever. And on top of that, you have the chance to be a part of a Netflix series. It's like Selling Sunset, but it's going to be even bigger, based in South Africa. It's called Hot Property Check. The likes of Drake, Kylie Jenner are all going to be on there. I mean, not only do you get your dream home for way less than the market price, other builders are charging at least $160,000 more for a home. But you also have the chance to be on TV, get famous, or at least bring attention to your business or your company. Why would you not want your home built by Arm Properties? Arm Properties was one of Tabo Wester's favorite scams that he liked to pull off. After he died in prison, there is a picture of Dr. Nandy, the celebrity doctor that likes to visit bars in her free time. And in a sense gone viral. She's out at the store with her family. They're buying a bunch of mundane household items. It's not even a clean-up kit. It's not like she has bleach and rubber gloves and an apron and rope and trash bags. She's just buying random little snacks and some toilet paper. There's absolutely nothing alarming at first glance about this picture. In theory, it's quite innocent. Dr. Nandy's 2 children are there with her 2 daughters. But there are 2 things that are incredibly wrong. One, the man in the photo is not Dr. Nandy's husband. She is married to another well-known famous doctor. He's not the man in the photo. 2, the man in the photo is a convicted killer that's supposed to be dead. The man is a dead man walking next to Dr. Nandy, Tabo Wester.
They're awful just right.
Yes, and this picture was taken after Tabo Wester died in prison in 2022. So this doesn't make any sense. How is he dead but still alive and free out of prison, hanging out with a celebrity doctor? None of this is making any sense right now. Why would Dr. Nandy be buying toilet paper with a convicted killer? 10 years ago, in 2011, a 26-year-old saleswoman at a BMW dealership, she told her boss that she was going to take a few days off to go on vacation with her boyfriend. They were going to this neighboring city for a few days since her boyfriend said that he had a potential modeling gig lined up for her. When they get there, they rent this hotel room. It's more like an Airbnb guest house, if you will. The very first night, they get into this heated argument because her boyfriend is still talking to all of his ex-girlfriends. And she's upset. She's like, I was under the impression that the 2 of us are exclusive. Why would you be talking to anybody else? Why would I even take days off of work to leave town to go on vacation with you if we're not even exclusive? He manages to de-escalate the fight. The 2 of them end up going to sleep. But at 2 a.m., she wakes up to this very weird sensation. It's almost like sleep paralysis. It's just a weird sensation. She wakes up, opens her eyes, and in the dark corner, Tabo is standing pointing a knife at her. Tabo Wester. Yes. He's wielding a knife, pointing it at her. He turns on the lights and he's demanding that she give him her phone and laptop. She's like, take whatever you want, please. He lunges towards her. She's kicking, trying to get him off of her, and everything stops. The knife is in her chest. There is blood leaking into the bedding. He rolls her on her stomach with the knife still embedded in her chest. ties her arms backed with a t-shirt, and demands her passwords for her laptop. This is at 2 in the morning. He will finally leave the guest house at 7 a.m. 5 hours later, she just has a knife stuck in her chest. He finally walks out of the guest house under 19 and he runs into the owner. Could you please keep it down? My girlfriend is still embarrassing. Do you mind giving me a quick lift to Cape Town? The owner drives Tavo to Cape Town, and they don't realize that nobody has heard from the girlfriend, so they try to knock before getting into the room. And when they finally get in at 9 p.m. the next day, she's undead and bloody. It's very clear that Tavo Bester is the one responsible because they're even scared. He ends up posting on Facebook, "Catch me if you can. Why are people even bothering me?" But there is a reason that Tavo Bester is balls to the wall, unafraid of any of the crimes, and it's because Tavo Bester is completely anonymous. Prior to all of this, he was born without any sort of registration. It's like being born in the United States without a social security card, without any sort of identification, a birth certificate, absolutely nothing. Tavo Bester's mom gave birth to him in a local hospital when she was just 20 years old. She stated that the father was a stranger who deceived her. And now because Tavo's mom herself doesn't have identification documents, Tavo Bester doesn't even get a birth certificate after being born. The only record of his entire existence for most of his life is just on a piece of paper tucked away in some filing cabinet in the hospital with his birth that's logged with a pen. Tavo Bester born on this date. No identification. He uses this to his advantage. When Tavo was a teenager, he would find his very favorite school activity. On the weekdays, he would put on his school uniform, a blazer with badges all over it. One of them was a prefix badge. It's actually a class president badge. And it's for the graduating class of Hyde Park High School, a school that he never attended. In fact, he stopped going to school in the 7th grade. But he would put on that uniform, walk around asking kind locals for a ride to school that morning. A lot of nice, unassuming moms would pick him up, put him in the car. I mean, whether he reminds them of their own kids or their child that used to be a teen or their son, I don't know, but they would pick him up, drive him to school, and on their way, they would make small talk. What grade are you in? Graduating this year, ma'am. Why don't you have a ride to school? My grandmother is in the hospital and I live alone, and I guess I'm not really sure what I'm going to do for the new... Never mind. These women would be so confused. Tell me what's going on, young man. It's just... There's a new athletic championship that I qualified for, but I'm not even sure I can afford to go anymore. One of the women that gave him a ride said her heart absolutely melted in that moment. Well, I could purchase a plane ticket for you, book you a hotel. That's what the school needs you to do, right? And give you a bit of spending money, even, for the trip. You would do that? She would do that. A few days later, he's right back in her car and she's driving him to the airport. When she turns to ask him a question at a red light, she sees a hole in his ear. 2 holes in his earlobe. This young man has his ears pierced. And it dawns on her in that moment, because at this point in time, South Africa is very conservative. Everything that this young man said is a scam. There's no way he's a good Christian kid, like he claims, from a good Christian family that goes to Hyde Park High School, because you can't get your ears pierced. So what is she going to do at this point? It's just the 2 of them in the car on the way to the airport. While they're still driving, the woman's friend Belinda Watts calls her, and she sounds frantic. She tells her, "Are you with that kid that you're paying for the hotel trip? That kid in your car is a con artist. I just asked my husband, and he checked the records. He's been conning people at least 300 times. I'm going to have the police meet you at the airport to arrest this boy." Tavo is arrested at the airport and released. Within a week, he is back at the police station for asking another housewife for a ride and stealing $200 from her. He had to call his mom to bail him out, and it seems that's the only time he had really talked to his mom, is when she would bail him out from trouble. He never really kept in contact with her. Even when he's arrested for the final, well, not final time, but the second final time, he's arrested for murder. His mom found out through the news. They do not have a good relationship. So now the question is, 10 years later, why is this man hanging out with a celebrity doctor and buying toilet paper with her? It doesn't make sense. Does Dr. Nandy know this guy? Dr. Nandy's family has a strong come-up. Her parents said, "We were amongst the first Black people in Port Edward to own a house." So you can imagine the transition. It was the end of apartheid and the tensions were very high. Dr. Nandy's siblings remember. I mean, I remember once we were the few black kids on the bus going to the high school, and my older sister and her friend always being picked on. The white kids would sit on them and throw eggs at them. So my father once went, stopped the bus driver, got on the bus because he was the deputy mayor of the education department at the time. So they're doing really well. And he gave this whole speech on how they're all trying to build a country that includes everyone. And he said that he was so disappointed in these children for not moving on from the past. And it never happened again. Dr. Nandy really used this to propel her career. Instead of being so upset, which nobody would blame her for being upset at blatant racism and people throwing eggs at you, she really used it to propel her career forward. She studied every single day. She was one of the smartest, if not, I want to say like top 2 smartest kids in her entire school. Her grades straight A's every single year. People said she was like an angel growing up. It's not even just her grades. It's not that she's just smart and in the corner, so studious. She's a natural born leader. She has charisma like her dad. The way she speaks, people just want to listen to her. If there was a group project, instantly she's taking the lead and people are following. Nobody's like, why are you the leader? No, people are listening to everything that she's saying. She never got in trouble at school. She ends up going to med school. She loves to read. She loves the ballet. Eventually, she goes on to become a doctor. She marries another high-profile doctor. They have 2 children together. I mean, their whole family, their lives. It looks like it's straight out of a Vogue magazine. They end up buying a mansion in a really nice area and throwing these incredible parties for the socialites of South Africa. And they're almost too perfect. Like, you can't even dislike them. What is there to dislike about them? You would just seem like a petty, jealous person. They're kind, they're sweet, they're educated, they're so intelligent, and they're just dripping of charisma. It's insane. Dr. Nandy eventually starts her own skincare and aesthetic clinic in 2017. And she starts catering to high-profile TV anchors, musicians, artists, celebrities, movie stars. And they all lovingly call her Dr. Nandy. She's got hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. And her Instagram is very girl boss. I will tell you that. It's very much, if I can do it, you can do it. Pictures of her in expensive clothes in front of her expensive car with her designer handbag, or in her office. She's showing off her luxury vacations while posting motivational quotes on how all women need to step up. Honestly, she seems at the time like a very good influence on people. I mean, sure, you can hate hustle culture, but she seems like she's not harming anyone. In fact, she's motivating people. She's inspirational. So how does she get wrapped up in helping pull off one of the most notorious prison escapes of South African history, if not in the world? One of the ballsiest, notorious prison escapes of recent time is going to take approximately 48 hours to pull off. So start the clocks. With 48 hours on the clock, Dr. Nandy and her father pick up yet another corpse from the morgue, which is ironic because isn't her father supposed to be dead?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, she's making up lies. She's like, that's my dad, that's my friend's dad, that's my best friend I'm picking up.
And you can just pick up bodies like that just by saying, that's my dad.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think she would forge official documentation. Now, her dad would help her pick up yet another corpse from the morgue, rent a car for her, place said corpse into the car, and that car is then driven to the gates of the massive prison. That is April 27th, 2022. That's the same day that Thabo Bester will apply to be placed in the isolation unit for his own safety. The supervisor for the segregation unit is what they call the unit, approves Thabo Bester's application and drives in this giant car into the prison. This random car that's left at the gates, he drives it in past the prison gates. He parks the car and he opens up the trunk where there is a TV cabinet box. You know those TV dressers? Media consoles, and it's in a cardboard box. You gotta assemble it. And he's bringing that box into the prison, which is a little bit strange. Why would he spend his own money to decorate his office? And if it's not for the office, it's not like a prisoner needs a giant TV media console in their cell. It's very strange. It's actually so strange, in fact, that his boss had noticed the car outside. And he said, don't you let that car into the prison. That's a suspicious looking car. I don't know what this car's doing outside the prison gates. Conveniently, his boss had to tend to an inmate's medical emergency soon afterwards. Then the gates opened and the unit supervisor was driving that car in. Now, the car with the TV console box is now in the facilities where it's going to sit for the next 48 hours. With 24 hours left on the clock, Thabo Bester's request is approved. He is slowly transferred to cell 35. It's a single-person cell at the end of a long hallway where there are no other cells. It's so secluded, so isolated, that it's actually partially obscured from even CCTV cameras. Almost as if it's a cue, at the same time, a CCTV technician at the prison places the contents of the TV console box into a wheelie bin, like a giant garbage can on wheels. And it's got a lid. He starts dragging it around the prison yard, picking up trash here and there periodically, opening it up slightly and then throwing it in, and then lugging it around, grabbing another piece of trash. And then very casually, he starts dragging that garbage bin into the dark room. The dark room is no longer a functioning room. It's technically been put out of commission because there have been many reports from inmates that even the prison staff couldn't ignore. Prisoners state that they were thrown into this dark room, which is a pitch black room with zero ventilation, no windows, no cameras, no clock to tell you the time, just a concrete bed and a toilet in a room with no ventilation, and for days you'd just be forced to stay there as punishment.
It's like solitary confinement.
The worst. Yeah, by the time you get out, they say the torture likely changed your brain chemistry. It's really bad. That's how the dark room is described. Now he places that wheelie garbage bin into the dark room. There's nobody in there, and nobody's going to be coming in. The next day, with a few hours left to go, the CCTV tech pretends to clock out at the end of his shift. He's putting his fingers up to the scanner to clock out. Instead of leaving, he slips back into his office, cuts the power to the CCTV systems in the segregation unit, rushes to the dark room, and wheels the garbage bin to cell 35, where Thabo Bester is locked up. And a fire starts. The mattress in the cell is soaked in gasoline and lit on fire. That weekend, the CCTV cameras in that specific unit, aka the unit where prisoners are sent when they tell the guards that they fear for their lives, solitary confinement, is on and off working. There will just be random blocks of time, chunks, where the CCTV cameras are not operational.
So right now it seems like the leader of the unit is involved.
Yes.
There's a cleaner who's involved.
There's gonna be actually about 10 prison staff involved.
Oh, that is great.
Many of them are involved. So after serving 10 years of his life plus 55-year life sentence, the Facebook R-worder and convicted murderer is free again. There is a split-second CCTV camera clip that they were not able to delete of him walking out of the cell on his two legs with no burn marks with one of the prison staff. After Thabo Bester's little prison break stunt, one would safely imagine that these two would try to lay as low as possible. They would duck their tails, wear baseball caps when they go out, or maybe fake Dr. Nandy's disappearance too, so that the two of them can run off and live together forever. But no, they just rent a house surrounding the Sand City Mall, which is known as the richest square mile in Africa. They just start playing house in the same neighborhood that Dr. Nandy is known to have frequented with her real family before all of this. It's in the same city that her clinic is in. It's also a few blocks away from the South African billionaire president's home. I mean, each of the houses in this area typically has high gated walls, CCTV cameras. More often than not, they have guard staff 24 hours a day guarding the homes. This is not a low-key area. And for some reason, the two of them rent two separate houses, spending almost $7,000 a month on rent, which originally, it could give off the impression that they're trying to be discreet with their relationship. Maybe they each live in one, and they act like they just hang out at night. But they're doing nothing to hide this relationship while Dr. Nandy is still married. She's going around flaunting Thabo around. The two of them are driving around town in Porsches and Range Rovers. She's introducing him to her business associates and friends as Tom Matsepi. If anyone is like, wait, you look so familiar. Where do I know you from? Oh, it's a very long story, but you might know my uncle, Patrice Matsepi, the first South African billionaire.
Wait, Thabo saying that?
Yeah.
So he really feels like nobody recognizes him as a guy out and about.
And he's so confident that nobody even gives it a second thought. And he's also dating a celebrity doctor. I mean, nobody questions it. Sometimes he's Tom Mitsubi, the boyfriend. Sometimes he's the billionaire's relative. Sometimes he's TK, the business partner. He has so many aliases. The two of them, Dr. Nandi and Tabo, they go on to create a few businesses together. Legitimate businesses in the sense that they're registered with the government. However, they were not legitimate by any other means. They're just fronts so they can scam all of Dr. Nandi's wealthy friends out of their money. Armed properties, they would bring people in to their very nice rented home in the wealthy area of South Africa, host these luncheons with private chefs, with florals decorated everywhere to show off this lifestyle, and they would tell the guests that it's through all the properties that they build and own, and some of them they rent out from all over the world, really. Some like this one they live in, and you can have it too, as long as you give us millions of dollars to build your first home. That's what they say. Armed properties did well in terms of taking people's money. Nobody questioned Dr. Nandi. She's a celebrity. They thought there's no way she's going to risk her entire career. Everything she's built up for some money. It's like if you know a celebrity is making a ton of money, are they really going to scam someone out of $100? It just doesn't feel like it's worth it. It doesn't make any sense. Which, don't get me wrong, they are scamming people out of a lot of money. But her career would, again, be a little bit more prosperous, and it would be over if she's thrown in jail.
Yeah, so why the hell is she doing this?
That's what people still don't know to this day.
Really?
We have theories, though. Now, a lot of women who aspire to be like Dr. Nandi, they start investing with Aram Holdings. And the setup is you give Aram Holdings a massive deposit. A lot of the times it was maybe a few $100,000s. They'll start building your dream home for you. But naturally, what happens is you need more money to start different phases of the building. So you have to keep giving Aram Holdings more and more money without ever seeing any sort of final products, without ever getting any sort of guarantee. Like, look at your house. We've got all the foundations set up. It's just, they show them a lot. Now we got to start building. Now, we just found out that there's something wrong with the land. We got to level the land. We got to do this. We got to do that. It's just a money pit. But most people are initially intrigued because, like I said, they're quoting sometimes $165,000 less than what other builders are quoting. And Dr. Nandi would say this to all of her friends and family. The whole idea of Aram Properties is to make it accessible for people to build houses, not to prey and make ridiculous profits. Do you get what I'm saying? Because it's attainable. It shouldn't be something that's going to cost you a fortune, and I'm just walking away with so much of your money. Dr. Nandi and TK would even talk about their new business ventures. They're going to expand Arm Holdings into Arm Travels, which will help build various tour packages, potentially even let travelers stay at other vacation homes, facilitate transactions that way. Personally, I thought that their plan was to scam as many people at once in the beginning, get a bunch of deposits for building the homes, and then just run off with the money. But no, they stick around. They keep asking for more and more money because the plans are getting more and more complicated, and everything is turning into this massive money pit to the point where if any of the homeowners or clients, they call Tom or TK or whoever he's introduced as, he would throw a massive fit for them even asking the most simple questions of, hey, when's our next meeting? I'd love to hop on a call with you. He would start throwing a tantrum at them. He would take their money and then subject them to emotional abuse. So again, why is Dr. Nandi doing this with him? Is she really doing this for money that she doesn't really need at all? People say that it's likely he manipulated her. It does seem that Tabo Bester is a good manipulator. This is giving Dr. Nandi a lot of grace and a lot of benefit of the doubt. I think that most people don't believe this theory, but this is one of them. That she too is a victim, and he likely lied about being guilty of the crimes.
But you say he was in prison for 10 plus years.
That's another reason that people don't sympathize with Dr. Nandi. She, from what we know so far, has no connections to Tabo Bester prior to all of this. And it is believed, it is assumed, that she reached out to him while he was in prison.
But why, right?
To be some sort of pen pal. Maybe she was going through a rough patch in her marriage, and yeah.
That is crazy.
Other people say, to give her a little bit of benefit of doubt in that situation, that Dr. Nandi was always one for supporting people that maybe had it a bit rough, and perhaps she wanted to reach out to inmates to understand their psychology, to see what the prison was like, to see if they needed any help from the outside in terms of prison reform, in terms of, getting adequate representation.
Maybe they deserve a prison break.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So we don't really know for sure why, but there's a few theories. Okay, so the first theory is that she too is a victim, and it is likely that he lied about being innocent. In one letter to an old family friend he wrote, "I am in prison for a crime that I never committed, and I'm so hurt by the stories in the media about me, for most of it is not even true. My mother had sent us to church. We grew up in an environment where respecting people, especially women. So, I mean, all the things that people are saying about me and saying that I have done is just not true. My biggest struggle is trying to find myself to be respectful at times when I'm lonely and feel rejection running through my soul. I finally feel as if I have hit a wall. I let down my teacher, my community, more God than myself. I was sitting in a jail cell facing a possible life sentence. It was a time for terrible fear, darkness, and despair." Tabo Bester is also known for having these manipulative stories about his childhood just ready to go. If he wants a little bit of sympathy, he's ready to dish them out. And maybe these are true, maybe they're not, but I don't think it excuses anything. One of the stories is that his grandmother's friend had started essaying him since he was a little boy. He stated that eventually he ran away from his grandma's home because he couldn't endure any of this abuse. He ends up without a home camp, where he runs into this older man who reaches out his hand, offering to help him out of this tough spot. But this older man essentially kidnaps him, locks him away in his home, and essays him for days on end. He claims that in prison he was later gang essayed, and a bottle of soapy water was inserted inside of him. And just his whole life is filled with trauma. Others are asking, is that really enough though? Just a few sob stories about your childhood? Is that really enough to have someone help you prison break out of one of the largest prisons in South Africa? There are allegations that Tabo is very manipulative, which is pretty evident in the way that he was scamming people. But people further allege that once Tabo got out of prison, he starts using pure violence to keep Dr. Nandi in check. There's a story circulating online that at one time, Dr. Nandi had invited a ton of her friends to her Hyde Park mansion to celebrate her birthday. She had the whole place decked out, caterers running in and out with finger food. The tables outside are beautifully lined with this soft linen, and they just hear screaming like somebody is fighting. According to partygoers, Tabo was so pissed off at the seating arrangements that Dr. Nandi had prepared, he starts screaming at her, the birthday girl, in the middle of her birthday party. They heard him screaming, "I'm in charge of the party, so you better let me decide who sits where." And then, in front of all of their guests, Tabo, who everybody knew as Tom, Dr. Nandi's boyfriend, starts repeatedly slapping Dr. Nandi across the face over and over on her birthday, at her birthday party, in front of everybody. Which some would argue is the reason that Dr. Nandi stayed with him afterwards. Perhaps he convinced her while he was in prison that he was innocent of the crimes that he was charged with, which is why she helped him prison break. And once he gets out, he starts scaring her into submission by assaulting her. There's allegedly an audio clip out there of Tabo screaming at Dr. Nandi, screaming, "I'm going to drive to Johannesburg tonight, and when I get there, I will, if you don't pick up the phone, you will regret it with your life. Do we understand each other?" Allegedly, Dr. Nandi can be heard terrified, responding, "Why are you saying this, Tom? Why are you threatening me?"
Why you say that?
Because it's not been confirmed by either party. This is them.
But audio doesn't exist.
Yes. You start doing your own things, and I told you, you don't do things in this house. Do you understand, Nandi? If you ever block my number, you will find your clothes on the streets. You will never block me. I run this house. I suffer for this house. You will not block me. Do you hear me? I will drive to you, and I will take your ass, and I will show you what I'm capable of. And if I ever call this phone and you don't pick up, Nandi, listen. I don't want you to make me angry. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you not think that I have a tracker on you? Do you not think that I have people following your ass, huh?
Driving to do the tonight. If I called you, if you didn't pick up the phone, it was so you didn't have such one.
I understand why you say this.
No, I don't care if you understand or don't understand. You are doing your own things. And I told you, you don't do things in this house. Do you understand that? You don't listen.
The audio continues for another 2 minutes with even more threats. But some people don't really care for these allegations at all. I mean, they do, but they don't necessarily think that they matter, considering there were reports that Tabo was violent with Dr. Nandi's children. And people find that very hard to find sympathy for Dr. Nandi for the sole fact that she went out of her way to expose her children to a convicted R-worder and a killer, and then let him abuse her children. They feel sympathy for the children for Perhaps they feel sympathy for Dr. Nandy to a degree, but they don't think it's anywhere near an excuse for what she's done. Even in court, when Tabo is initially arrested for his initial crimes of R-wording and murder, he pretty much admits to it. He says, the woman that I R-worded, my only intention at first was robbing them. But as I was leaving, I saw the victim's legs and I was tempted. My initial intention, again, was to just rob the victim, and I had accomplished this already, but after I saw their body, however, I was impelled by lust, and then I proceeded to R-word her. He tells the judge that it'll never happen again. In fact, he says, I feel also that I'm not somebody that you should worry about. Leaving a woman in one room alone with me, I would not essay her, And also the murder, I feel, was just a pure, we were fighting, there was a knife involved, somebody got stabbed in the process. That was the type of incident. If I wanted to kill my girlfriend at the time and stab her, I would have killed her where we were. I wouldn't have left town with her. I would not have killed her the first night we got to the new town. That was not my intention at all. If I really wanted to kill her, I would have taken her into a bush and killed her. My intention was never to kill anyone. My intentions were very straightforward. I liked her. Things just got very twisted. Whenever they got twisted, we had a fight. The knife got out of hand. She got stabbed. I tried to stop it. He states that because he was already wanted for SA, he couldn't go report her injuries to the police because nobody would believe that it was an accident. So honestly, it's the police's fault. He said, as for the murder, I am fully responsible for what I've done. I did not fully understand what I was doing that day. I knew her for 4 years. I can't believe that I'm responsible for killing her. She believes in me. She was a friend. I'm very sorry for what happened. She had told me about all of her dreams. We had gotten very, very close, and you can imagine, you're going to learn a lot about someone spending time together. It weighed on me personally, night and day. It ached inside of me that I couldn't even sleep. However, like I said, I did not intentionally want to kill her. We had a fight and she got stabbed. Whether you or anyone else wants to believe me, well, that is my story. Wherever she's at, whether it be heaven or wherever, she knows that I never wanted to kill her. But at the end of the day, I'm pleading guilty because I don't want to sit in a courtroom and justify that I did not want to kill her.
I can't plead guilty to murder now because I did not intentionally want to kill her. But I can plead guilty of the fact of bringing a knife to her presence. That I can plead guilty. And how she got stabbed. But I do, if I have to plead guilty, with no regard there, I plead guilty that I have to bring a knife to the fact that she got stabbed.
Tabo Bester pled guilty to all of his crimes, which is another reason that we don't have much more information on his victims. Because he pled guilty, there has been no trial process, and I think at this point the families just want to stay out of it. He admitted to the crimes, and the evidence is that Dr. Nandy reached out to Tabo while he was in prison for the crimes that he admitted to. There's also a pretty viral clip in South Africa where a debt collector comes to talk to Dr. Nandy. This is after Tabo's escape. This is before anyone knows that she's dating Tabo Bester. She's sitting at a restaurant, and the story is she purchased this $75,000 Mercedes, but their whole property scam was coming crashing down. She couldn't afford to keep paying for it, and instead of letting it go into collections, or better yet, returning the car to the dealership, she drives it to Zimbabwe, and she's like, yes, this is great. I'm going to leave it in Zimbabwe. Perhaps she has plans to file some sort of insurance claim on it. But the dealership finds out, tracks her down at the local restaurant where she's just eating this, honestly, not the most appetizing looking avocado toast. The toast is way too crunchy. And they confront her about the car, asking her, where is it? And she says that she'll have to talk to the person who signed the contract. Safe to assume that she's talking about Tabo. And she continues to eat her avocado toast, unfazed, while they're sitting there staring at her in this public restaurant.
Was this recorded or something?
Yes, and people are just commenting, this doesn't look like a woman who's been manipulated. She seems so unbothered in this situation that most people would feel so stressed out, so anxious, so embarrassed. It's like she's got the steel heart of a criminal as well. It's argued that this is not normal people behavior. And I think one of the more ridiculous parts in all of this is that Dr. Nandy was one of the main reasons that the police were onto her. The reason an autopsy was really examined in the first place is because a complaint was submitted to the courts by Dr. Nandy herself. So remember how she went to the morgue, got a decoy body, placed that decoy body into Tabo Bester's cell. Tabo Bester walks out, and there is a body that is assumed to be Tabo Bester that's left in the cell, but it's not Tabo Bester. Well, now she wants to go pick up that body that's labeled as Tabo Bester.
I thought she picked up like 3 bodies.
Yes, So every single time they couldn't get the body into the prison, or it just didn't work out. So she ends up burying 2 bodies. One ends up in a river. So now she's back at the morgue trying to pick up Thabo Bester's alleged body, which we know is not Thabo Bester's body. So she goes to the morgue and they're like, you can't retrieve his body because you're quite literally a random person and this is a criminal. Like, how do you know this convicted killer? You have no relation to him. I think in the other cases, they're civilians.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's a criminal.
Yeah.
They're not siblings, they're not family, there's no evidence that they even know each other. I mean, they clearly don't run in the same circles, so what is she doing picking up Thabo Bester's body? Well, in the court filing, an official court filing that Dr. Nandy submits, she states that Thabo Bester is her common-law husband and that not allowing her to take his body, she is suffering from undue emotional and psychological stress and trauma. She said, "It pains me to see my late husband's body being moved around from the morgues. The deceased should be buried with dignity, and this is against that behavior."
She filed a motion or whatever.
Yes.
Because she wants that body.
Yes. The court looks at her like she's lost her goddamn mind. Thabo Bester cannot be your common-law husband because you're already legally married to somebody else. She claims it does not matter. She and her doctor husband are long separated. She met Thabo way back in 2006 when they were both studying at the University of Witwatersrand, which again, that's pretty public record. The judge is again confused because Thabo Bester never even attended that school. But Dr. Nandy continues. I had a very close relationship with Thabo Bester, and we would go on dates and call each other and see each other quite often. She says that they lost contact with each other until she found out that he was in prison. She reached out to see if what they were saying about him was true. Did he kill somebody? She said she went and visited a few times, and the rest was history. They fell back in love. She said whenever he had any concerns or problems with any issues in prison, I was the one that would communicate with lawyers to try and resolve those issues. He is my common-law husband. She also stated that she should be the one to pick up Thabo's body because Thabo's mom is dead. None of his family members are even alive, which is sad because a lot of them are very much alive. Dr. Nandy would even go the extra mile to not only file this complaint with the court, but with the South African Police Service and the Department of Home Affairs, demanding that Thabo's body be turned over to her effective immediately. It causes an even bigger scene though, because everyone knows about this now. Thabo's mom walks in to come pick up her son's body, and all the police are confused. Isn't his mom dead? Then who the hell is this woman? They ask the woman to submit a DNA test to prove that she is indeed picking up her family member, and sure enough, the DNA comes not a match.
To the dead body?
Yes, so now the whole case is being re-examined. They dig up his autopsy and they realize that his cause of death was not from smoke inhalation, but rather he was dead long before the body was set on fire. The authorities knew about this and they didn't do anything about it because he's a prisoner, he's an inmate, and I don't think they cared whether he was murdered before he was lit on fire because they assumed it was Thabo Bester, which that is such gray area and that becomes a whole thing later on. But now they realize that's not even Thabo Bester. Because they run the DNA, and they're like, that's not Thabo, what the hell is going on? And it's very quickly confirmed that Thabo Bester has escaped, because they go on TikTok and they see a man who looks identical to Thabo Bester posting videos with one of Dr. Nandy's daughters. Just posting TikTok videos.
What's going on?
He just is posting TikTok videos. He's not explaining the situation, he's pretending to be Tom, and he's just posting TikTok videos with Dr. Nandy's kids.
And they're like, this looks like Thabo.
Yeah, they're like, okay, so Dr. Nandy is saying that she was the common-law wife of Thabo. This guy looks identical to Thabo, and this is posted after he allegedly died, but it's not Thabo, and he's posting with Dr. Nandy's kids.
How ballsy do you have to be?
Exactly, and that is when people realize he is not dead. Round Up, the 2 investigative journalists that wrote the book that we did a lot of our sourcing from, they were the first news publication to break the news that Thabo's death is not exactly what it seems, which results in Thabo and Dr. Nandy going on the run. All their friends start coming forward, stating they had invested with them, seen them together, went to their house parties, and after this article, finally, 10 days later, March 25th, 2023, so this is like a full year after he's escaped, the government admits that Thabo Bester had escaped. Eventually, the 2 are arrested in Tanzania, brought back to South Africa to stand trial. A lot of people will be standing trial for the escape of Thabo Bester. the former unit supervisor for the segregation unit in the prison, Dr. Nandy's father, who helped her pick up the bodies from the morgue and rented a car, the CCTV tech at the prison, 6 prison guards, Dr. Nandy's gardener, Dr. Nandy, and Tabo Bester will be standing trial. And it's just, I mean, the whole thing is so ridiculous. Tabo Bester is ridiculous. Even while he was in prison, he still writes motivational letters to family friends, like unsolicited motivational letters. He would write letters such as, "Nothing splendid has ever been achieved except by those who dared believe that something inside of them was superior to circumstances. A positive mental attitude is the foundation of a successful life," someone said. "Dream as if you'll live forever. Live as if you'll die today. But I say that we live forever under Jesus Christ, so that we must never stop dreaming. You live a life of joy and happiness. You think thoughts of creativity and speak words of life to every creature you meet. Your mantra in life becomes MAD, M-A-D, making a difference. The world is a great mirror. It reflects back onto you what you are. If you are loving, if you are friendly, if you are helpful, the world will prove loving and friendly and helpful to you. The world is what you are." But if you think such wise advice is free, you are sadly mistaken, because he ends the letter with a simple request. According to his doctor, he needs to eat 5 meals a day, so for that they're going to need to send him some money in prison to get some food. Yeah. He also creates a list of items that he believes the police pocketed after arresting him in Tanzania. He lists them with their prices, totaling $2.2 million.
US dollar?
Yeah, iPhone 14 Pro Max, Samsung S23, Samsung Z4, iPad 16, MacBook Air 16, 2 of them, Burberry card holder, Burberry sunglasses, Tom Ford sunglasses, HP laptop, a Louis Vuitton laptop bag, a ring worth at least $14,000, 2 AP watches worth at least $150,000 each, 2 FM watches, I don't know, again worth at least $150,000 each, 2 Rolexes, a Cartier watch, a Patek, a yeah.
Where's he getting all that from? The doctor? Oh, the scams.
A bag containing clothes, designer clothes, cash, a few $100,000 worth of cash from different denominations, USD, Tanzanian shillings, Swiss francs, rands, which nobody knows if what he's claiming is true. Because he's claiming the police stole it. They're corrupt. They're stealing his stuff. But even if it's true, he just admitted to having $2.2 million worth of illegal assets that he brought across country borders.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the next investigation would naturally be, where the hell did he get that kind of money? And I don't think he wants them opening up that can of worms, so I don't understand why he thought that was a good idea. In court, Dr. Nandy and Tabo have been seen flirting, smiling, whispering in each other's ears. Tabo was actually seen walking into court once wearing 2 Louis Vuitton t-shirts layered on top of each other. It's almost like he's going out of his way to be unlikable and be investigated for more financial fraud crimes.
Have we heard anything about, like, Dr.
Nandy?
Dr. Nandy's husband?
He's pretty private of a person. And some people speculate that's even why they separated. That he was very much enjoying becoming more of that celebrity status and perhaps showcasing too much of their life. And he's much older too. I think he's close to 2 decades older. Yes. Now, Dr. Nandy is now claiming that she was technically kidnapped by Tabo Bester. She was taken to Tanzania and has nothing to do with this, and she was forced to do all of this. Which is going to be a very tough argument to prove, considering she was just giggle-gaggling with him in court, and then the next court hearing, she's like, actually, he kidnapped me. So
how do the people of the country feel about her?
They don't like her. They just, honestly, more than not liking her, I think a lot of people are upset with her because it's so dangerous. She's putting so many people at risk, like the civilians, the South African civilians, when this criminal is here to scam wealthy people, but also potentially R-word more people, kill more people. I mean, the way that he killed his girlfriend with the knife to the chest, that's heartless. That's not nowhere near accidental, nowhere near self-defense. That's literally just sadistic. And so people are very angry with her for having a hand in that. But on top of that, I think the overwhelming feeling is, how do you become one of these success stories?
Yeah.
The inspiration, how do you throw that all away for him? How do you throw away your fairy tale life that you worked your whole entire existence for him? Now, a year after Tabo Bester's escape, a tweet starts circulating. The body that was burned by Tabo Bester in prison is my son. Our government is failing us and I'm broken. She said that her son Kalego had gone missing and she reported him missing. The police wanted nothing to do with it because he's 32 years old. Later, the next time she hears about him is almost a year later, and he's found dead. And they just I don't even think they were apologetic. They're just like, sorry, he burned to death in prison, but he's probably dead before then. Her son has no criminal record. He's not a prisoner. How was he in a cell, in prison, in solitary confinement, under a burning mattress? It doesn't make sense. She reports him missing one day. No criminal record. He ends up dead, found in a prison. Nobody will tell her how he died. Eventually, the police say, yeah, we think he collapsed in town, was taken to the hospital, and passed away. And she's like, well, how come I wasn't alerted? That doesn't make any sense. Then the next police officer she asked, they changed the story. Oh, he got injured while he was out running errands, and then he died. Again, still doesn't explain anything. Nobody can explain to her definitively, this is his cause of death, this is what happened, and also how nobody in the family was alerted, how his body was taken out of the morgue by a random person. One suspicion, though, is that Kalego lived in the same neighborhood as one of the prison guards that helped facilitate Tabo's escape. Both of them went to the same bar. They were regulars at the same bar, so they might have known each other. We don't know. So there could be a lot more sinister stuff underway, but I guess we won't know until we know, or I don't know if we'll ever know. His mother cried, this is a place where murderers are kept. How did my son end up here? And she collapsed upon seeing her son's body again. And there's just a lot of questions about the prison itself. Would they have said anything about how suspicious the whole thing was had the press not gotten wind of it first? Because according to the initial autopsy reports that were performed right after Tabo Bester allegedly died, they found out that he didn't die by smoke inhalation. But they didn't care to investigate, they didn't care to open up any sort of thing, they just let it happen, they didn't care. Also, how much is the facility getting paid by the government? It's a private prison. They get paid about $30 million a year, USD, to operate. But this is what they're doing? It just feels very, very shady.
Do we know how? So, Dr.
Nandy?
Dr. Nandy just straight up went to 10 different prison bars and bribed them?
Yeah, was giving them about $5,000-ish.
Each?
Yes. Yeah, to be fair, they do make, well, not to be fair, I don't think there's any excuse, but to give perspective, they make about, I think, $800 USD a month. So $5,000, I know maybe if you're US based, it sounds like the conversion rate, it's not that much, but.
Wow. But still, that's all it takes for someone to get.
Because at the end of the day, it's still, I guess, 6 months salary about. Right. But I just. And later, one of the heads of the prison was asked, I mean, it's an absolute disgrace that the victims of this man were not warned. Nobody was protected. It's an absolute disgrace, and you should hang your head in shame, all of you. It's not the way you treat people. But the most important thing, answer me this. If, while you were so busy protecting the secrecy of your investigation and deciding not to warn the South African public, you incidentally expect all of us, all of you, to protect them, and have failed, all of us, if Tabo Bester had murdered another woman, R-worded another woman, what would you have said then?
You know, that also made me think that he's only caught because he is so freaking loud about this.
And Dr. Nandy's filings and just all of that,
So what does that mean? Does that mean there are hundreds more that just got out without anybody knowing?
So if Tabo Bester had even just performed the initial housing scam, taken all the money, and they had fled the country, even if they found out, he would still be free, it seems.
Yeah.
So there must be more.
A lot more, yeah.
Now, the prison head just responds, well, I'm not a speculator, and that hasn't happened. They were asked, what would you have done? What would you have said if Tabo Bester had committed another murder, if he had R-worded another person? And they said, well, I'm not a speculator, so I'm not going to speculate, because that's not what happened. So while everything is underway, there are conspiracies, however, that Tabo is in prison for taking the fall for a senior politician.